When I asked to break up, Qingyan finally realized the ring on my hand was no longer our engagement ring. She lost her composure and shouted, "Where is your engagement ring?" I slapped her hand away and asked, "Then where is yours?" Her face turned pale and flushed. She suddenly rushed into the bedroom to search. I only watched quietly as she went mad, thinking there was no way she'd find it. A month ago, her childhood sweetheart had already sent me a photo of her ring. And my ring had long been taken away by her childhood sweetheart. It all started because my fiancé's childhood sweetheart, before the engagement banquet, made a bet with me. He bet whether my fiancé would abandon us at the engagement banquet. Thinking of all those anniversaries and birthdays, when Qingyan had stood me up, I accepted his bet. Only this time, what I wagered was giving up on her. Every time she abandoned me for that sweetheart, I would send Qingyan a number. She once asked me what it meant. When I was drunk, I joked, "Every time you stab my heart, I mark one number. When you reach 100, the me who loves you will die, and I won't want you anymore." When she received number 99, she didn't care. When she got 100, she still didn't care, until the day of the engagement banquet. Qingyan, because of one phone call from her sweetheart, called off the engagement. My heart, after loving her for 7 years, finally died. She knew full well that abandoning me at an engagement banquet like that would humiliate me and turn me into a laughingstock. Even when I begged her humbly, Qingyan only coldly left one sentence: "The engagement can be postponed." Then Jiming Xuan's boastful text arrived. I won. A bitter smile hung on my lips. I spent 7 years loving her and warming her heart, yet in the end became a complete joke. Qingyan could cast me aside anytime, anywhere. Whether it was my birthday, or our dating anniversary, or a date we had planned. Now even an occasion like our engagement banquet, Qingyan could abandon me without hesitation. Great pain engulfed me. But at the same time, I also felt relieved. I had persisted in this relationship for 7 years. During those 7 years, I had suffered enough grievances and neglect. Actually, I had long since been unable to keep going. Today's engagement banquet was the last chance for the relationship between me and Qingyan. Clearly, Qingyan didn't care. I took a deep breath and opened my chat window with Qingyan. I sent one message: "Let's break up." After sending the message, I directly blocked Qingyan. As I dragged my suitcase to the elevator, a mocking voice came from behind me. It was a voice I had hated for 7 years. Qingyan's cousin, Su Yurou. The person Su Yurou admired most was her goddess-like cousin, Qingyan. In her eyes, Qingyan deserved the best man in the world, not a country bumpkin like me. So all these years, she never stopped making trouble for me. She ran up to me smugly. "The engagement was cancelled. How embarrassing. Are you slinking away now?" "Don't worry. How could I let you leave so easily?" She clapped her hands. "Everyone, come out." In an instant, the 6 cronies lurking around her all rushed out. They held up their phones and filmed me, planning to capture all my humiliation. A vicious smile hung on Su Yurou's lips. So, the engagement was cancelled. How does it feel? Everyone else was laughing, their eyes full of mockery. My heart felt numb. I crossed my arms and looked at Su Yurou with a faint smile. "What does it feel like?" "Honestly, it feels pretty awful. But no matter how bad it is, I doubt it feels worse than being a bastard like you." The playful atmosphere instantly froze. Su Yurou's face turned livid. Although she was Qingyan's cousin, she had no blood relation to Qingyan at all, because she was an illegitimate child born from her mother's affair. This was Su Yurou's deepest humiliation. She flew into a rage. "You're asking to die." As she spoke, she raised her hand high and viciously swung it at my face. I didn't indulge her. I dodged directly and kicked out. It landed right in her stomach. Su Yurou staggered back several steps and fell to the ground in disgrace. She looked at me in disbelief. "You dare hit me? Aren't you afraid I'll tell my sister?" I looked at her coldly. "You overgrown baby. I tolerated you before only for Qingyan's sake. But now, I don't even want Qingyan anymore. And you expect me to tolerate you? I couldn't be bothered wasting words with her. I grabbed my suitcase and prepared to leave. Su Yurou screamed hoarsely, "Fine. If you really have backbone, then never come back. Don't come crying and beg my sister to take you in." I stopped walking. Su Yurou saw me stop and reveal the look of disdain. "Regret it now, you shameless lapdog. If you don't want me telling my sister, kneel down right now and lick my shoes. Then I'll generously forgive you." I curled my lips. I noticed one of Su Yurou's cronies was still filming me with her phone. I looked calmly at the phone. My relationship with Qingyan is over. I will never marry her in this lifetime. Qingyan returned to the villa early the next morning. She sat on the sofa and rubbed her temples. A trace of fatigue showed on her cold face. "Xian, come massage my head." After she said that, there was no response for a long time. In the past, whenever she came home, I would happily throw myself at her and fuss over her, massage her shoulders and pound her back, trying to make her happy. But today, the huge villa was cold and empty. There was no sign of me. Instead, Chunyi stood at the kitchen door, speaking awkwardly, "Miss Su. Mr. Song hasn't come back since yesterday." A trace of impatience flashed across Qingyan's face. She thought I was throwing a tantrum again. She took out her phone and opened our chat window. Then she saw the breakup text I had sent. Qingyan laughed in anger. She used her phone to contact her secretary, Li Qian. "Book tickets immediately. I'm going to America for the business meeting." Chunyi couldn't bear it and stepped forward, saying softly, Mr. Song was out all night. Aren't you worried? After all, something as big as an engagement. You canceled it just like that." Of course, Qingyan understood what Chunyi meant. She curled her lips. No time to coax him. After tossing out those cold words, she left directly. The meeting in America would take a week. She was giving me a week to cool off. By then, I would obediently come back anyway. I took a flight back to Xiangsheng and returned to my small Western-style house there. This sense of belonging was something I had never felt in the capital for 7 years. I was just about to push the door open when the door of the neighboring house opened. A hurried figure walked out. I recognized her and called out, "Jianji." Bai Jian was anxious. When she suddenly heard a familiar voice, she turned around in surprise and saw me smiling brightly. "Xian, you're back." I smiled. "Jianji, I'm back." She had watched me grow up. Bai Jian was also the big sister next door to me. We had always been close, but these past years, I stayed in the capital revolving around Qingyan, with no chance to come back. Bai Jian froze in surprise for a moment, then immense joy suddenly burst into her eyes. She quickly came to my side. "Xian, do me a favor." "What favor?" "Marry me." I subconsciously took a step back. This was too outrageous, Bai Jian hurriedly explained. Her voice choked with emotion. "Sheng had an accident abroad. He left behind a child. I need to bring that child back. But the policy over there requires me to be married before I can adopt the child. I really have no other choice now, Xian. Just help me register the marriage. When I come back, I'll divorce you." At this moment, Bai Jian couldn't think about anything else. My heart ached. It was as if I had sensed that terrible outcome. My voice trembled too. "What happened to Brother Sheng?" A tear slid from Bai Jian's eye. "He's dead." My steps faltered. When I was little, Brother Sheng often took care of me. He was a gentle yet strong boy next door. I never expected that now. His only bloodline was in such a dangerous place. We had to bring that child back. I immediately said, "Jianji, wait for me a moment. I'll get my documents and go with you to the Civil Affairs Bureau." Getting married was a very simple matter. The man and woman go to the Civil Affairs Bureau, take a photo, get it notarized, recite a pledge, stamp the papers, and the marriage certificate is yours. Bai Jian took the marriage certificate, apologized to me, then hurried to the airport. Time was urgent now. Every extra second delayed meant one more degree of danger for that child. A week passed quickly. Qingyan returned from America. Inside the luxury car, she glanced at the time. It was just dinner time. She said to her secretary, Li Qian, "Contact Song Xin and have dinner at Starlight Restaurant." Li Qian respectfully agreed at once, and immediately took out her phone to call me. No one answered the call. She frowned and said to Su Qingyan, President Su. Mr. Song didn't answer. Su Qingyan frowned. She was holding an exquisite jewelry box. Inside was a luxurious watch that she had won at an auction in America. What happened at the engagement banquet was indeed her fault. She had to show her apology. Now that I wasn't answering, she was very displeased. Expressionless, she closed the gift box. Go straight back to the villa. In the end, the Maybach stopped at the villa entrance. Su Qingyan got out of the car with a cold face. There were many servants in the villa, all busy with their own work. Only Chunyi was inside the villa. Su Qingyan asked Chunyi, who was busy in the kitchen. Where is Song Xian? A trace of worry flashed across Chunyi's face. Mr. Song hasn't come back since that day. I've called him many times, but he never answered. Miss, I'm worried Mr. Song may do something rash. Su Qingyan's beautiful brows furrowed, but her voice remained certain. He wouldn't. I was like a warm little sun, always optimistic and positive. Someone like me would never break down. Probably because the engagement banquet was cancelled. I was truly angry this time. Su Qingyan sighed and took out her phone to text me, come back. I'll hold an even grander engagement banquet for you. The message was sent, but what answered her was a huge red exclamation mark. I had actually deleted her. Su Qingyan laughed in anger. I had thrown tantrums before, but I had never blocked her. This time, I was actually so upset. Su Qingyan still felt no sense of crisis. She only thought I was making a fuss. She said to Li Qian, who was standing at the door, find out where Song Xian went. Li Qian quickly found out. Miss, Mr. Song went back to his hometown in Xiangsheng. Su Qingyan immediately looked both amused and exasperated. Seriously, he even ran back to his hometown? She said to Li Qian, go bring him back. As for me in Xiangsheng, I had been feeling very comfortable this past week. Since no one had taken care of the yard at home, I hired people to renovate the courtyard again. Then I planted my favorite camellias, and even opened up a patch of land to grow chili peppers. In just one short week, the yard had been completely transformed. Recently, I had been looking for a suitable storefront in Xiangsheng, planning to open a flower shop. While I was watering the plants in the yard, there came a knock at the door. I thought it was the soil delivery, but when I opened the door, I saw Li Qian in business attire standing there. The corner of my mouth twitched. I immediately tried to close the door, but Li Qian reached out to stop me. Mr. Song, President Su sent me to bring you back. I couldn't close the door, so I simply gave up and folded my arms. Kneel and beg me, and I'll go back with you. A crack appeared on Li Qian's cold face. Rare anger surfaced in her expression. Mr. Song, you should understand that your relationship with President Su is unequal. President Su sending me to pick you up is already giving you face. If you keep acting up, it will only backfire. People should know their place. I raised an eyebrow and looked at Li Qian mockingly. To be honest, Li Qian coming to get me represented Su Qingyan lowering herself. This was the first time in 7 years. But did I need it? I looked at her coldly. I know my place very well. That's why I left Su Qingyan. And assistantly, you should know yours too. Leave my house immediately, or don't blame me for setting the dogs on you. Li Qian's gaze turned icy. Her eyes were full of lofty disdain. Playing hard to get. Song Xian, you've gone too far. Do you think Su Qingyan would care about you? If she really cared, she wouldn't have canceled the engagement banquet. So stop putting on airs. Don't really overdo it. I clenched my fist. My heart ached so much I could hardly breathe. The canceled engagement banquet left me humiliated. To put it bluntly, I had only been groveling and chasing after her. I had placed myself in an utterly humble position, which was why the people around Su Qingyan were so fearless. I gave her a faint smile, then pointed to the second floor of my little house. Guess what that is? When Li Qian looked up and saw the security camera hanging there, her pupils shook. I crossed my arms and looked at her with a half smile. What do you think would happen if I sent your behavior just now to Su Qingyan? Or posted it online? You're nothing more than a high-end dog that Su Qingyan pays to keep. Who gave you the courage to bully others with borrowed power? I'll only say this once. Su Qingyan and I are over. Get lost now, and I'll pretend you were never here. Otherwise, the whole internet will know your ugly face. Li Qian's face was full of anger. She glared at the camera and threatened, You'd better mean what you say. Never return to Qingyan's side. You should know your place. You'll never compare to Mr. G. You're not worthy of Qingyan. After saying that, she turned and left. I chased her to the door, a wicked smile appearing on my face. Be careful not to fall flat on your face. The moment I said it, Lee Qingyan fell to the ground in a bizarre posture. Face first, too. I covered my face. That fall was no light one. When she lifted her head, she was already bruised and swollen. She glared at me viciously. You jinx. Then she covered her face. She limped away dragging her injured leg. A huge shock burst in my eyes. My jinx mouth was back. I had possessed this jinxing ability since childhood. When I first went to the capital, I feared nothing. But Qingyan disliked it, and always scolded me for causing trouble with my jinx mouth. Later, I began doubting myself and hating myself. And just like that, the ability disappeared. I never expected it to return now. Then I turned around and went back into my little courtyard, happily tending the land again. Anyway, they couldn't contact me anymore. My phone had been thrown into the moat when I left the capital. At this moment, Lee Qingyan dragged her injured body into the car and called Qingyan, President Su. Mr. Song refuses to come back. On the other end, Qingyan was silent for a long time. Lee Qingyan cautiously said, President Su, since Mr. Song doesn't want to return, let it go. Qingyan's cold voice came through the phone. Find a way to bring him back. You can beg him. After saying that, Qingyan hung up, leaving Lee Qingyan sitting in the car with a pale face. She gripped the phone tightly in her hand. She took a deep breath. Not long after, I heard knocking again. This time I thought it was the soil delivery, but when I opened the door, I saw Lee Qingyan's bruised and swollen face. I asked impatiently, Why are you still here? Lee Qingyan was suppressing her anger, then gave me a deep bow. Mr. Song, my attitude was bad just now. Please be magnanimous and forgive me. Miss Su truly cares about you. She's waiting for you in the capital. Please come back with me. I was rather surprised. Qingyan could actually make Lee Qingyan lower herself like this. It seemed she truly couldn't bear to lose me. Too bad I no longer needed it now. I directly shut the door and ignored her. But Lee Qingyan was like a stubborn piece of gum, guarding my front door the whole time. I figured I shouldn't waste time with her, so I put on a backpack and slipped out the back door to go traveling. Lee Qingyan waited there all day. When she realized I hadn't even come out once, she knew something was wrong. Her head began to ache. She vaguely felt things had gone beyond her expectations and were heading in an uncontrollable direction. Just then, Qingyan called. She answered it. President Su. Qingyan's cool voice came through the receiver. Did you bring him back? Lee Qingyan swallowed nervously. Mr. Song, he secretly bought a ticket to Yun City. Qingyan immediately hung up. Her beautiful face darkened. She found my number and immediately dialed me. But the phone rang for a long time. Until it hung up automatically, I still didn't answer. Qingyan looked at the darkened phone screen. There was no expression on her cold face. Then she called another special assistant, Lu Cheng. Find out where Songxian is staying in Yun City. Book the fastest flight. I'll personally go bring him back. Lu Cheng on the other end seemed stunned for a moment, then replied yes. At this moment, I planned to travel back slowly from Yun City, spending a month or so on the road. Yun City's mountains were magnificent, its waters crystal clear. Before such scenery, my little heartbreak was hardly worth mentioning. After a day of fun, when I returned to the guest house, it was already 9 at night. I opened the apartment door and saw a familiar figure sitting inside. I subconsciously rubbed my eyes, then suddenly widened them. Why was Qingyan here? The phone in her hand was dialing a number, while she stared expressionlessly at me standing in the doorway. Why didn't your phone ring? I froze for a moment. I curled my lips. I threw away my old number. Qingyan nodded in understanding. She put away her phone. I'll get you a new one later. Now pack your things and come back to the capital with me. The corner of my mouth twitched. I subconsciously took a step back. Qingyan, we've already broken up. Qingyan frowned. Just because I canceled the engagement banquet, you care this much? I pressed my lips together in silence. Qingyan strode over to my side. and sighed. I'll make it up to you with an even grander engagement banquet. Don't be angry anymore, okay? Look, I even came to find you myself. I let out a mocking laugh. So I should be deeply grateful? Thankful for your lofty charity? Qingyan, I don't want your pity. And I don't want you either. Let's break up. Hearing me mention breaking up again, Qingyan, who had been trying to coax me patiently, instantly turned cold. Break up? Can you bear that? Her tone carried arrogance and disdain. Those words were like a knife, stabbing hard into my chest. I took a deep breath and looked up at Qingyan firmly. I can do it. I will do it. Then I pointed at the apartment door. Now please leave. The calmness and indifference in my eyes left the always proud Qingyan stunned. For 7 years, in front of her, I had always been a cheerful son, never once showing a cold face. But now, I felt unfamiliar to her, especially my indifferent gaze, which made her uneasy. She felt waves of twisting pain in her stomach and rubbed her brow. Qian, stop making trouble. You know I'm busy. I don't have time to coax you. Be good. The exhaustion on Qingyan's face was genuine. She had flown overnight to get here. After arriving at the guest house past 10, she had stayed awake the whole time waiting for me. She had already lowered herself. I should have been satisfied, and I should have taken the offered way out, but I stepped back several more paces. There was no love left in the way I looked at her. Qingyan, I don't need you to coax me. You didn't do it before, and I won't need it in the future. This is where we end. Then I turned around, preparing to leave. Since you won't leave, then I will. I had just turned when a loud crash sounded behind me. I turned back in shock and saw Qingyan collapse on the floor. Immediately, Lu Cheng rushed past me and went to Qingyan's side. President Su, are you all right? Lu Cheng looked frantic. He rebuked me. Miss Su flew overnight to find you. From yesterday until now, she hasn't even had a sip of water. Mr. Song, you're being far too cold-hearted. I took out my phone and dialed 120. Explained the situation, then hung up. I already called emergency services for her. That's not cold-hearted, is it? With that, I turned and walked away. Lu Cheng said in shock to my back. Aren't you going to the hospital to take care of Miss Su? I didn't stop walking. I'm not a doctor. What's the point of me going? Qingyan's stomach cramped in severe pain. In her blurred vision was my resolute departing figure. Running into Qingyan was unexpected and unlucky. I no longer had any desire to stay in Yun City. I directly took a car to Flower City and continued my travel route. I would never let Qingyan affect my mood. Meanwhile, Qingyan went to the hospital and got in for drip. Her pale complexion looked much better. Lu Cheng bought her a bowl of porridge. President Su, the doctor said to drink some porridge to warm your stomach. Qingyan leaned against the hospital bed. She slowly opened her eyes. She took the porridge Lu Cheng handed over. When Qingyan opened it, it was just an ordinary bowl of millet porridge. There was no aroma, and it didn't look appetizing either. Whenever she had been hospitalized with stomach pain before, I was always the one who cared for her and cooked porridge fragrant with sweetness. And it looked good too. She closed her eyes. Her mind was full of the image of me leaving without hesitation. She had never seen such a cold side of me before. As she ate, she asked, "Where is he?" Lu Cheng slowly replied, "He went to Flower City." Qingyan's hand paused for a moment. Then she gave a light laugh. "He runs fast." Lu Cheng hesitated before speaking. President Su, Mr. Song is obviously just playing hard to get, yet you keep indulging him like this. Qingyan lifted her eyes. They were filled with cold meaning. Assistant Lu, when did my affairs become something for you to criticize? Lu Cheng's heart tightened. He hurriedly apologized. Sorry, President Su. I overstepped. Qingyan said coldly, "Get out." Lu Cheng retreated with a pale face. His expression was ugly, and resentment filled his heart. He took out his phone and made a call. The other side answered quickly. Mr. Ji. Qingyan finished the porridge and rested with her eyes closed. At that moment, her phone rang. The caller ID showed Mingxuan. Qingyan answered it. Ji Mingxuan's voice came from the other side. Qingyan, where are you? My chest hurts so much. Qingyan replied calmly. I'm in Yun City. If your chest hurts, have Ajing take a look at you. Take care of yourself. The other side continued asking, can you come see me tomorrow? I need you. Qingyan was silent for a moment. I'm afraid not. The other side also fell silent because of her refusal. Qingyan, what are you doing in Yun City? Su Qingyan did not hide it. I'm here to bring Song Xin back. The voice on the other end sounded guilty. Was it because I got sick on the engagement day and called you that made Xin unhappy? It's all my fault. I'll explain it to Xin. Su Qingyan said, no, it has nothing to do with you. It was my decision. He's unhappy because of me. You don't need to apologize. Take good care of yourself. The person on the other end suddenly began sobbing in a suppressed voice. It's all my fault. How could I forget? That day was your engagement banquet with Xian. If only I hadn't made that call. Su Qingyan felt a headache coming on, but facing Ji Mingxuan. She patiently coaxed him. Don't think too much. It's not your fault. The next second, Hu Jing's anxious voice came from the phone. Mingxuan, what's wrong? Su Qingyan's heart tightened. The next second, Hu Jing picked up the phone. Qingyan, Mingxuan was too guilty and too emotional, so he fainted. Su Qingyan's beautiful brows furrowed. His constitution is weak. Take good care of him. I can't leave here right now. Hu Jing's voice rose emotionally. Qingyan, how can you be so confused? Song Xian is just making a scene. He can't leave you. Soon he'll come back on his own. Right now, Mingxuan needs you most. You should put Mingxuan first. Su Qingyan felt deeply tired. Everyone thought I was just making trouble, so in their eyes, I was merely being dramatic. But in Su Qingyan's eyes, I was someone sensible, obedient, and gentle. All these years, she hadn't needed to spend much effort on me. I was easy to handle. Su Qingyan's voice turned cold and firm. I can't spend my whole life putting Mingxuan first. I will marry and have children someday. My husband and children will be the most important people to me. As for Mingxuan, you're a doctor and more useful than I am. After saying that, she hung up. Inside the hospital room, Ji Mingxuan, lying on the bed, heard Su Qingyan's last words. His already pale face lost every trace of color. Hu Jing was shocked. Su Qingyan had actually said something like that. She quickly comforted Ji Mingxuan. Mingxuan, don't overthink it. In Qingyan's heart, you're the most important. It's just that Song Xian made a bigger scene this time. So Qingyan is only giving him a way out. Under the blanket, Ji Mingxuan's hand clenched tightly, a dark look flashing in his eyes. Meanwhile, on my side, I visited many flower shops and collected quite a few contacts. When I returned to Xiangsheng to open my flower shop, I would ask these people for supplies. I was busy and enjoying myself. Online, there was a famous steakhouse in Flower City. You had to enter a lottery. Only those lucky enough to be selected could eat there. Before coming to Flower City, I had already entered online. Then I just received a message. I got a reservation for 7 o'clock tonight. Sure enough, after leaving the wrong person, even my luck seemed to improve. That night, I arrived at the steakhouse. I showed my reservation number, number 9. The waiter's attitude immediately became respectful. Mr. Song, please follow me. The waiter led me straight to a private dining room. I was surprised. I was alone. Why would I need a private room? But when I walked inside and saw who was sitting there, I instinctively turned to leave. But the door had already been shut, and it wouldn't even open. I laughed angrily, turned around and crossed my arms, coldly staring at the woman seated there. The noble and elegant Su Qingyan. What is this supposed to mean? Su Qingyan pointed to the seat beside her. Didn't you want steak? Sit down. I spread my hands. Sorry, I don't have the habit of eating at the same table as an ex-girlfriend. It ruins my appetite. Su Qingyan's face remained cold. There was almost no expression on her beautiful face. I didn't agree to break up. I smiled faintly. It only takes one person to agree to a breakup. Su Qingyan stood up and softened her voice. About the engagement banquet, I didn't think it through. You were wronged. It was my fault. It won't happen again. I'll make it up to you with an even grander. I immediately raised both hands and made an X. Please don't. We've already broken up. There won't be any engagement banquet. You and Ji Mingxuan are a match made in heaven. I was the one getting in your way. Now that I've broken up with you, give your engagement banquet to him. Please just stay tied to each other and stop ruining my life, okay? Su Qingyan's face was full of helplessness. I've said many times, Mingxuan is only my younger brother. I have no romantic feelings for him. Why won't you believe me? I rubbed my forehead. When it came to Ji Mingxuan, there was no way for Su Qingyan and me to communicate. I simply spread my hands. Whether you two are sister and brother is your business. It has nothing to do with me. Qingyan, I hope after a breakup, you won't keep pestering me. Qingyan's face turned cold. She sneered. I'm the one pestering you? In these 7 years, who exactly was pestering whom? My chest tightened. Thinking of everything from those 7 years, I wanted to slap myself hard twice. Qingyan realized she had said the wrong thing and was just about to say something to make up for it. I immediately looked at her with a resolute gaze. That's right. For these 7 years, I really did cling to you. I admit it. So I also accept the bitter fruit I got. But now I'm not clinging anymore. I'm letting you go. Qingyan. Qingyan's face turned completely cold. I had called these 7 years bitter fruit. After that, I didn't want to keep entangling with Qingyan. I knocked on the door and signaled to Qingyan, have your people open it. Qingyan was holding back her anger. She also didn't want to keep arguing about the breakup. She really was the one at fault here. It was normal for me to make a fuss, but making this much of a fuss was unnecessary. With a cold face, she pointed at the dining table. Sit down and eat first. I knew her too well. Countless times in the past, it had been like this. As long as she stayed cold and refused to respond, I would slowly digest everything myself, and then the matter would pass. Before, I was always trapped in self-doubt and self-loathing. Now I had stepped out of it. As an outsider, I finally understood. Qingyan had been using cold violence. I had suffered Qingyan's emotional neglect for a full 7 years. I smiled faintly and pointed at the door. The moment I finished speaking, the private room door suddenly slammed loudly. All the screws on the door fell out, and then the door toppled outward by itself. With a tremendous crash. Qingyan was stunned by the scene. Your jinx mouth came back. Qingyan knew about my jinxing ability. At first, she had found it amusing. But later, she stopped liking it. She even scolded me and forbade me from using it recklessly. I looked at her with a half smile. That's right. My jinx mouth is back. So, just cleanly break up with me. And stop pestering me. Otherwise, your dear little brother Ji Mingxuan will be the unlucky one. Do you know how accurate my jinx mouth is? Qingyan had come all this way to find me. I believed a large part of it was because of the engagement banquet. She felt guilty inside, but now I was using the person dearest to her to threaten her. I refused to believe she would still persist. After all, Ji Mingxuan was her bottom line. I glanced over, and sure enough, I saw the anger hidden in her eyes. I sneered inwardly. Ji Mingxuan really was the most important person in her heart. I turned to leave. When I reached the door, my wrist was suddenly grabbed by Qingyan. I frowned and shouted, Qingyan, what are you doing? Let go of me. With a cold face, Qingyan dragged me outside. Don't move. She directly pulled me into the car, and then locked the doors. I glared at Qingyan. What exactly do you want? Qingyan ignored me. Instead, she said to the driver, drive. The car immediately started moving. I was so angry my chest felt tight. Inside the car, both of us stayed silent, each sitting on opposite sides. Qingyan's slender fingers curled slightly. If this had happened before, when she was angry and refused to speak, I would have long since started chattering to coax her. I would talk to her, tell all kinds of jokes, find topics to amuse her, until her anger faded. The car headed toward the airport, a 90-minute drive. Qingyan didn't say a single word. Neither did I. I even closed my eyes and started resting. The reason Qingyan could find me so quickly was because of Su Group's big data system. As long as I lived under surveillance, as long as I used my ID card, she could precisely track all my information. Qingyan chartered a plane. She forcefully brought me aboard. The private jet was luxurious and extravagant. There were even two flight attendants serving us. I had no mood to admire any of it. I went straight to the bed on the plane and lay down to rest. For the past 7 years, I had drained too much of my energy and emotions. Now I wasn't draining myself anymore. Since I couldn't resist, I would just follow her back to the capital first. She looked at me lying on the bed with my eyes closed. The anger in her heart was blazing, but she swallowed it herself. A trace of helplessness appeared on her face. Then Qingyan waved her hand, sending the two flight attendants back to their work area. Then she lay down on the bed as well. Her fair hand even slipped inside my clothes. I reflexively pushed Qingyan away. Qingyan looked at me with a dark expression. Back then, who was it that drugged me and climbed into my bed? Isn't this exactly what you wanted? The moment she brought that up, the anger buried in my heart could no longer be suppressed. Qingyan, I did like you then. But I still had dignity. I would never do something so shameless. Do you really think you're irresistible? That I wanted to sleep with you so badly? Don't you know how terrible your skills were? Her face turned even uglier. That incident happened 3 years ago. At that time, I had gone with Qingyan to a gathering. I handed Qingyan a glass of wine, never expecting that the drink had been tampered with. Qingyan's whole body grew feverish, and she became different. Without another word, she dragged me into a room. That was also the first time between Qingyan and me. At the time, I was pleasantly surprised. But the next day, Su Yurou pointed at my nose and cursed me for drugging Qingyan. She called me shameless. I was stunned. Everyone said that in order to get Qingyan, I would stop at nothing, even doing something as beastly as drugging someone. At that moment, I felt both wronged and panicked. All I wanted was to quickly explain to Qingyan that I hadn't drugged her yesterday. I had no idea why there was something in that drink. At that time, Qingyan gave me a reassuring smile and said she knew it wasn't me. I thought she truly believed me. But now it seemed she had never believed me at all. Qingyan's expression darkened further. What did you say? I sneered. You don't actually think I've been looking forward every month to the 1st and 5th 10th, do you? Could you really never sense my resistance? Qingyan herself was extremely busy, and she was someone whose life followed rigid routines, including intimacy. It was strictly scheduled for the 1st and 5th 10th of every month. If there was a business trip or her period, then it would be postponed. So over these 3 years, the number of times Qingyan and I were together was actually not much. Qingyan's forehead throbbed. A huge sense of powerlessness hit her. This time, she clearly felt that I had slipped out of her control and become different. She had the feeling she could no longer hold on to me. It made her feel that I no longer loved her. She suddenly clutched her chest. A tremendous sense of loss rose inside her, as if she were falling from a great height. Qingyan couldn't understand it. It was only an engagement banquet. Did it really matter to me that much? Back at the villa, Chunyi felt heartbroken seeing me. Xian, drink this bowl of porridge and nourish your body. I really did need to recover. It wasn't that my jinxing mouth couldn't curse Qingyan, but cursing her came with a price. I gulped down the whole bowl of porridge. After setting the bowl down, I gave Chunyi a sweet smile. Thank you, Chunyi. You've worked hard. Chunyi said gently, get some proper rest first. Nothing is more important than your health. I nodded. Meanwhile, when Zikin arrived at the private room, Qingyan was already pouring herself drink after drink. Her best friend Zikin sat down beside her. What's wrong? Drowning your sorrows in alcohol? That doesn't seem like you, Qingyan. Qingyan ignored her and downed the freshly poured glass of whiskey in one go. What she couldn't drive from her mind was the hatred-filled look in my eyes. For the first time, she experienced the feeling of suffocation in her chest. Zikin took the bottle and slowly poured her another drink. As soon as it was poured, Qingyan downed it in one gulp. Zikin said lightly, your stomach isn't good. Drink less. Be careful, or that housekeeper of yours will nag you again. Qingyan paused at those words. Her voice sounded muffled. He won't anymore. Zikin naturally shifted the topic onto me. She raised an eyebrow. Actually, everyone knew about what happened between Qingyan and me. That grand engagement banquet was cancelled just like that. On the very day it was cancelled, I left the capital. Everyone was betting how long it would take me to come back. Even she joined the bet. Almost everyone in the capital took part in it. Her guess was the longest. She bet 10 days. Everyone else guessed 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. None over 5 days. A lot of people were betting. So around Qingyan, many people were watching closely. Today, Qingyan personally brought me back. It was actually surprising. Everyone thought I would come running back on my own. No one expected Qingyan to go fetch me herself. But none of that mattered. What mattered was that Zikin won. I had already been gone for half a month. Zikin probed cautiously. He's really angry this time. These past few days, Qingyan had been feeling suffocated because of me. She subconsciously asked Zikin beside her. It was just an engagement banquet. Was it really worth getting angry over? Shen Zikin swirled her drink. Who knows? If you think it wasn't a big deal, then fine. But my little brother at home has been cursing you out for half a month. Shen Zikin's younger brother, Shen Weixu, was notoriously picky. Very few people ever impressed him. Yet Country Bumpkin me somehow did. We became good brothers. In the whole capital, probably only Shen Weixu would stand up for me. Qingyan poured herself another drink. Then through gritted teeth, she said, "He wants to break up with me." Shen Zikin was startled for a moment. Songxian persisted for 7 years. And now he wants to break up. Then she turned and looked at Qingyan in confusion. Isn't that a good thing? Qingyan looked up, her icy gaze landing on her. Shen Zikin spread her hands. Don't look at me like that. Isn't this what you wanted? Songxian and we aren't from the same world. Were you really planning to marry him? Playing around for a few years was enough. If you're really getting married, it should be someone of equal status. Ji Mingchuan isn't bad. Qingyan coldly called his name. Shen Zikin was surprised by Qingyan's attitude. Her mouth fell open in shock. No way, you're serious. Qingyan said nothing, but kept downing glass after glass. That alone showed how irritated she was inside. Her best friend Shen Zikin was truly shocked. Qingyan was drowning her sorrows in alcohol over love. As your best friend for many years, let me advise you. You'd better not develop feelings for Songxian. Since he said he's letting go, then let him leave. Qingyan paused with the wine glass in hand, facing my cold eyes and sharp attitude these past days. How could she not have thought of letting go? She was born at the top of the pyramid, proud all her life. A man was all it was. If this one left, she could replace him. Yet she couldn't do it. As long as she thought of me, it felt like something was in her chest. And she couldn't breathe. Shen Zikin suddenly began to pity Qingyan. If you really care about Songxian, then all I can say is you're done for. Honestly, the fact he endured for 7 years already surprises me. With someone as wooden as you, he still loved passionately for 7 years. That determination and persistence could qualify for Guinness. People like them all treated me like a joke. But now it seems I'm no longer the joke. The joke had become Qingyan. Shen Zikin had actually discovered that Qingyan had feelings for me. If that were true, then she really had to pity Qingyan. I was someone stubborn to the core. So, once I said we were breaking up, that probably meant I truly had no intention of having anything more to do with Qingyan. Qingyan drank one glass after another. She didn't know how to explain it, nor how to put it into words, when a drunken Qingyan was escorted back to the villa by Shen Zikin. I was in the living room watching dramas, looking completely carefree. Shen Zikin laid Qingyan on the sofa and said to me, I've brought her back. She's your problem now. She drank a bit too much. Make her some hangover soup. I glanced at the woman sprawled on the couch, reeking of alcohol, then stood up in disgust. I picked up the blanket on the sofa and covered both Qingyan's body and face with it. Then I shouted toward the kitchen, Chunyi, make Qingyan a bowl of hangover soup. With that, I turned and went upstairs. Shen Zikin frowned and asked, You're not staying? She had seen me before whenever Qingyan came home drunk, I would personally help her wipe her face, make soup, and stay by her side. My face full of concern and love. But now I didn't even pause my steps. I shrugged. I'm not her nanny. Besides, she drank it herself. She deserves it. I originally wanted to say she deserved to drink herself to death, but those words sounded too much like a curse. I was afraid it would backfire on me, watching me go upstairs without looking back. Shen Zikin suddenly understood Qingyan's sense of loss. Even she, an outsider, could feel that huge contrast, let alone Qingyan, who was living through it. In her heart, she silently lit a candle for Qingyan. She hoped Qingyan would come to her senses and break up with me peacefully. Otherwise, the one who would suffer next would be her. I returned to my room. Although Qingyan and I were a couple, we had always slept in separate rooms. Even on the 1st and 15th of every month, after our nights together, Qingyan would still return to her own room. A knock sounded at the door. Along with Qingyan's drunken voice, Songxian, open the door, open it. A trace of irritation flashed across my face. I went straight to the bathroom and filled a cup with water. I opened the door and without hesitation, splashed it all onto Su Qingyan's face. If you want to act crazy drunk, go back to your own room. Don't come here and lose your mind. Large drops of water slid down Su Qingyan's delicate face, giving the feeling of a beauty being ruined. If it were the old me, seeing this scene, I would have jumped up to take pictures. But now I felt nothing at all. I fell in love with Su Qingyan at first sight when I was 16. It wasn't until 18 that I gathered the courage to confess to her. Even later, when I relentlessly pursued Su Qingyan, it was all based on Su Qingyan being single. And me being single too. Actually, when I first learned that Su Qingyan treated Ji Mingxuan specially, I had already wanted to back out. No matter how much I liked Su Qingyan, I would never be a homewrecker. It was Su Qingyan who firmly told me that Ji Mingxuan was like a younger brother, and that there would absolutely never be anything between them. That was why I devoted myself so completely to Su Qingyan. I thought Su Qingyan understood me, so I trusted her. Turns out I was flattering myself. In Su Qingyan's heart, I was apparently this despicable. I slammed the door shut, standing outside the door. Su Qingyan wiped the water from her face. In truth, she hadn't drunk much. She had only wanted to use alcohol as an excuse to reconcile with me. She sighed. It seemed that this time, because the engagement banquet was cancelled, I was truly angry. I was actually making such a huge fuss. Su Qingyan rubbed her brow. A wave of helplessness surged through her heart. Forget it. Let's leave it like this for now. Give me some time to calm down. Recently, she moved out to stay elsewhere. When I had sorted myself out, I would come back. At this moment, inside the room, I had no idea what Su Qingyan was thinking. I lay on the big bed and slept wonderfully. At noon, I got up and went downstairs. I sat at the dining table eating the meal Chunyi had made. Chunyi served me food, then looked at me hesitantly from the side. I noticed it and smiled. Chunyi, if you want to say something, just say it. It's fine. Chunyi hesitated before speaking. Xian, did something happen between you and Miss Su? I answered directly. We broke up. Chunyi asked carefully. Because of the engagement banquet. Miss Su was indeed in the wrong this time. I sighed. Sort of, but not entirely. A person's heart doesn't turn cold in an instant. For these 7 years, I loved passionately. I loved without reservation, but I can get tired too. I can feel exhausted, hurt, and sad. Love gets worn down little by little until it's gone. The engagement banquet was only the fuse. Chunyi felt heartbroken for me. She had seen all I had given over these years. I gave Chunyi a big smile. Don't worry, Chunyi. I'm really fine. The moment we broke up, I truly felt so relaxed. It was like all the shackles on me had been removed. Chunyi thought of something and ran to the TV cabinet. She brought me a box. This is the phone Miss Su bought for you. Your old SIM card is already inside. I didn't refuse. I turned on the phone and logged into my WeChat. In an instant, a flood of messages poured in. I only glanced at them and stopped reading. Most of them were from the day the engagement banquet was cancelled. Many were messages mocking me. I couldn't be bothered to respond. I found Shen Huixu's contact information and sent him a message directly. Shen Huixu replied very quickly. I heard Su Qingyan personally brought you back. You're not having second thoughts, are you? I smiled and replied with an embarrassingly dramatic line. My heart is dead. There's no possibility between Su Qingyan and me anymore. Shen Huixu replied instantly to make your love run dry. Su Qingyan really is something else. Brother, don't be sad. I'll introduce you to some high-quality ladies later. I couldn't help laughing out loud. Just then, someone suddenly called me. Seeing the number, I answered casually. A sharp-tongued woman's voice came from the other end. Songshin. You've learned some tricks now, since you chose to leave without a word. Why come back? I sneered. Madame Su is so capable. Surely you know it was your daughter who personally brought me back. Don't get smug. Mrs. Su's voice was furious. Then she abruptly changed tone. Since you're back, come to the old residence now. I'm entertaining guests today. Come serve them. A cold smile curled on my lips. Zhang Jingyi was Su Qingyan's mother. She had never thought highly of me, and over the years she had openly and secretly made things difficult for me. The corners of my lips slowly rose. Fine. Wait for me. I'll be there right away. Zhang Jingyi's voice was full of impatience. Hurry up. Then she hung up. I immediately blocked Zhang Jingyi's number. Then just keep waiting. Because I wasn't going at all. It takes 40 minutes from my villa to the old residence. Mrs. Su, Zhang Jingyi, waited a full hour, without seeing any sign of me. Mrs. Zhou, who was with her, said with a smile, "Your future son-in-law isn't even married in yet, and already you can't command him. Does he think Su Qingyan runs this family now? And doesn't take you?" The former Mrs. Su, seriously. Zhang Jingyi had always been proud and arrogant. She had never thought much of me. And now I had actually stood her up, making her lose face in front of her wealthy friends. She immediately called me in a rage. "Sorry. The number you dialed is currently busy." Mrs. Zhou covered her mouth in surprise. "Oh my, you've been blocked." At those words, Zhang Jingyi's face turned completely black. After standing Zhang Jingyi up, I was in a great mood. I tidied myself up and went to eat with Shen Weixu. The two of us had arranged to meet at our usual steakhouse. When I arrived, Shen Weixu was already waiting. Seeing me, he happily waved. I happily walked over and gave him a hug. Shen Weixu wore a smile full of mock disgust. "If Su Qingyan hadn't dragged you back, I wouldn't even be seeing you now." I immediately raised both hands like a student begging for mercy. "Please don't mention Su Qingyan anymore." Shen Weixu pulled me down a sit. "Su Qingyan personally brought you back this time. She caused quite a stir. The moment I hear Su Qingyan's name, I get a headache. I don't want to talk about anything related to her at all. She's got issues. Don't mention her. Bad luck. I'm afraid she haunt me forever." My phone suddenly buzzed once. The screen showed a message from Su Qingyan. Instant headache. My jinx skill had really returned. I had just said Su Qingyan wouldn't leave me alone, and the message came right away. I needed to watch my mouth. Before I cursed myself, Shen Weixu directly picked up my phone to see what Su Qingyan had sent. Su Qingyan's message said, "Half an hour later, dinner together at LEAVE-P1 restaurant." Shen Weixu opened his mouth in shock. But the steakhouse we were currently in was called LEAVE-P1. I smiled. "Don't worry, she can't come." I tapped my phone and took a screenshot of Su Qingyan asking me to dinner. Then I took a selfie of myself in the restaurant and posted it to Moments, visible only to Jiming Xuan, having a romantic dinner together, waiting for him. As for Su Qingyan, I ignored her message completely. At Su Group, Su Qingyan had been busy all day and was preparing to have dinner with me. Just as the company elevator reached the first floor, her phone rang. It was Jiming Xuan. She frowned slightly and answered. Jiming Xuan's terrified voice came through the phone. "Qingyan, he's here. I saw him. He's downstairs at my apartment. He's watching me. He's going to kill me. Qingyan, save me." Then it sounded like the phone fell to the floor, showing how panicked he was. Su Qingyan quickened her pace. Her voice calm, "Li Qian. Go to Union apartment." Su Qingyan sat in her black Maybach, thinking of the dinner with me. "Sorry, something came up." "Eat first." Shen Weixu, who was already waiting in the restaurant to eat, and I both saw the message. A mocking smile curved at my lips. Shen Weixu exploded instantly. "Damn. Is Su Qingyan really this trashy?" Shen Weixu had seen clearly everything I had done just now. Actually, when Su Qingyan's message arrived, I'd be lying if I said it didn't hurt. Fortunately, it didn't hurt as much as before. I knew exactly how special Jiming Xuan was. Tio Su Qingyan. Over these 7 years, the feeling of being abandoned at any time, I had tasted hundreds of times. I was numb to it now. Shen Weixu clenched his fist angrily. "Brother, don't be upset. Tonight I'll take you out to meet some pretty girls. We'll call 10 of them. There's bound to be one you like." After the two of us finished eating, it was already dark. The nightlife had begun. At a top private club, the female models working inside, each one was around 5'7" with model figures, curvy in all the right places. My eyes lit up instantly. I grabbed Shen Weixu's hand, extremely excited. "Brother, I was wrong. When you used to ask me out, I should have come." Shen Weixu and I, when while dancing in the middle of the dance floor, all the emotions suppressed in my heart were thrown straight to the clouds. While I was dancing, I didn't notice that down in the booth area, quite a few eyes had landed on me. "Miss Su, look at that person on the dance floor. Doesn't he look a lot like Songxian?" Su Yurou was holding a glass of champagne when Zhang Xinshan mentioned my name. She immediately looked toward the dance floor. The moment she saw it was me, she got excited. Last time, in front of so many of her friends, I had called her a bastard. She still hadn't vented that anger. Now I had delivered myself right to her. Su Yurou gave Zhang Xinshan a meaningful look. You go. Zhang Xinshan immediately understood what Su Yurou meant and excitedly stepped onto the floor. Meanwhile, Su Yurou directly pulled out her phone and started recording. I was dancing happily when suddenly a filthy hand grabbed my waist. I stopped immediately and turned to search around me. Everyone on the dance floor was lost in their own world. There was no way to tell who did it. I sneered and muttered, "Whoever touched me, break your leg." The moment those words fell near the edge of the dance floor, a masked woman suddenly fell off the platform. A scream completely drowned out the blaring music in the club. On my leg, my hand, Zhang Xinshan was badly hurt. She had twisted her ankle and fallen off. At that instant, she clearly heard the sound of bones cracking. When she fell, she instinctively used her arm to brace herself. Unluckily, there was a shard of broken glass on the ground. It pierced straight through her palm. Bright red blood spread all over the floor. The scene was horrific. The music stopped. Everyone in the club also froze. Security hurried over to check on Zhang Xinshan. Without another word, they immediately took her away to see a doctor. Shen Weixu looked at the person being carried away. Isn't that Zhang Xinshan? How is she so unlucky? I glanced over and saw Su Yurou leaving with her. My eyes even met Su Yurou's gloomy gaze. How could I not understand now? I sneered. She wasn't unlucky. She deserved it. Shen Weixu realized something was wrong. What happened? I laughed coldly. She harassed me, so I cursed at her. Shen Weixu stared with eyes wide in disbelief. Your jinx power is back. Shen Weixu and I first became acquainted because of my jinx ability. Back then, several thugs had cornered him in an alley to beat him up. I showed up and used my jinx power to teach those thugs a lesson. So, when my jinx ability mysteriously disappeared later, he was really disappointed. Now that it had suddenly returned, he was ecstatic. I hooked an arm around Shen Weixu's shoulder, looked at Su Yurou's figure, and curled my lips into a cold smile. Come on, let's keep watching the show. When Shen Weixu and I came outside, we just happened to see Su Yurou driving away. A malicious glint flashed across my face. I just saw Su Yurou drinking. If you drink and drive, you'll crash. Before I finished speaking, Su Yurou's Mercedes crashed into a tree at the turn. Smoke immediately started rising from the hood. Shen Weixu's eyes shone brightly. It's back, your jinx power is really back. This is amazing. I pulled Shen Weixu along and walked over. Su Yurou had injured her forehead. One of her feet was trapped. She couldn't get out at all. Hearing footsteps approaching, she called weakly for help, but when she saw it was me, her expression changed instantly. I looked at her in mock surprise. You seem to really need help right now. As long as you beg me, I might generously save you. Su Yurou gritted her teeth. In your dreams. I shrugged. If you won't beg, forget it. I turned and started to leave. Su Yurou panicked. Blood was flowing from her forehead now, and wave after wave of dizziness hit her. Don't go. I beg you. I turned back to look at her. I can save you, but you have to answer one question. Su Yurou closed her eyes. Reluctance and humiliation showed on her face. Ask. I crossed my arms over my chest. Back then, that drug drink Qingyan had. Was that your doing? Su Yurou flew into a rage from embarrassment. Songxian, if you don't want to save me, then don't. You did it yourself and now you're blaming me? You're truly shameless. The impatience and disgust on Su Yurou's face didn't seem fake. I fell into thought. I had only cursed Li Qian once, and Li Qian ended up bruised and battered, as if someone had beaten her badly. But Su Yurou seemed to hold little malice toward me, at least judging from how badly she was hurt. Then I spoke again. If you're lying, the car will catch fire. The moment I said that, I immediately took Shen Weixu back a few steps. Su Yurou's car showed no reaction at all. It looked like it really wasn't Su Yurou. Su Yurou's face flushed bright red. Gritting her teeth, she cursed at me. Get lost. I had gotten the answer I wanted. I had no intention of dealing with Su Yurou either. I turned around and left directly. Don't worry, I already called the police. They'll be here soon. When they investigate her drunk driving, she still suffered the consequences. Su Yurou was so angry her teeth were grinding. She watched me and Shen Weixu leave. The two of us had walked quite far before Shen Weixu finally asked, "So it really wasn't her?" I nodded. If it were Su Yurou, the car would have caught fire already. Seeing the gloom on my face, Shen Weixu said, "I know a fun place. I'll take you there." Shen Weixu brought me to an underground bar. It was even wilder than the last bar. The key point was that the female models inside were dressed very revealingly, and you could even touch them. It was simply a man's paradise. My eyes lit up instantly. "Bro, you were hiding a place this good from me." Shen Weixu rolled his eyes at me. "Could I ever get you to come before?" I quickly apologized. My bad. Let's go. I want to touch one." With a lecherous grin, I set my sights on a nearby female model. My hand had already reached out, when suddenly an angry roar came from behind at the critical moment. "Nobody move. Hands up." I looked at Shen Weixu in shock. How could the place he picked be raided? Shen Weixu didn't quite dare meet my eyes. He coughed lightly. This place wasn't exactly legal. The two of us were directly taken to the police station for questioning. Shen Weixu sighed. "I'll call my sister." I casually said, "Tell your sister to bring someone extra to pick me up too." Shen Weixu gave me an okay gesture. At that moment, Shen Ziken was drinking with Su Qingyan. Su Qingyan's beautiful face was full of lingering sorrow. Shen Ziken couldn't understand her. Su Qingyan had been drinking for 2 straight days to drown her sorrows. Just then, Shen Ziken's phone rang. It was from her younger brother, Shen Weixu. She answered it and put it on speaker immediately. "Come pick me up. I was at a bar, and now I'm at the police station. Can you come get me?" Shen Ziken laughed. "Got caught in a vice raid." Shen Weixu sounded a little embarrassed on the other end. Shen Ziken quickly said indulgently, All right. I won't say more. I'll come pick you up right now." Shen Weixu added, "Thanks, sis." "Oh right, sis, Xian is here with me too. You should also find someone to pick him up." Shen Ziken froze. Subconsciously, she looked at Su Qingyan, who was drinking. Su Qingyan had already lifted her head. Her cool eyes landed on Shen Ziken. For some reason, it made goosebumps rise on her. Shen Ziken quickly said to Shen Weixu on the phone, "I'm afraid that won't be convenient. I'm neither his friend nor his guardian. Besides, a lot of people have their eyes on me lately. I don't want trouble." I suddenly interrupted. "It's fine. I'll call someone else." Before Shen Ziken had even hung up, I had already made my own call. "Hello, senior. I'm at the police station right now and ran into some trouble. Can you come pick me up?" Shen Ziken immediately hung up, because she saw Su Qingyan's icy gaze. From the moment she said she wouldn't help me, to when I said I'd find someone else, Su Qingyan had been staring at her own phone. But in the end, I had no intention of calling Su Qingyan at all. I directly called my senior instead. That move of mine was brilliant. I was basically dancing wildly on Su Qingyan's bottom line. Su Qingyan suddenly stood up. "Let's go." Shen Ziken asked blankly, "Go where?" Su Qingyan radiated a cold aura. "Isn't your brother at the police station? Go pick up your brother." Shen Weixu and I quietly waited here for someone to pick us up. Shen Ziken arrived first. She signed the paperwork and made guarantees, then took Shen Weixu away. Shen Weixu said to me, "I'll wait for you at the door." I waved at him. "Go ahead. My senior will be here soon." But Shen Ziken stayed where she was instead of leaving. She looked at me strangely. "You didn't ask Su Qingyan to pick you up, but some senior instead." I glanced at her. It was strange that Shen Ziken would ask such a question. Shen Weixu tugged on Shen Ziken's sleeve and said, "Xian and Su Qingyan already broke up. Of course he wouldn't call Su Qingyan." Suddenly a smile appeared in my eyes. I looked behind her with delight. "Senior, over here." The Jiao Yi was graceful and elegant. She walked to my side. "Junior, I'm here to pick you up." I scratched my head awkwardly. "Senior, I'm sorry. It's so late, and I've troubled you." The Jiao Yi smiled gently. "It's fine, just a few steps away." Then the Jiao Yi signed for me, made the guarantee, and successfully took me out. The Jiao Yi also learned what had happened. Smiling, she said, "Next time you go out for fun, choose a more proper place. The tips of my ears turned red. Honestly, fooling around and getting caught by the senior I admired was too embarrassing. I waved my hands in panic. Never again. Never again. I really just wanted excitement, but the police station was way too exciting. The worst part is needing someone to pick me up. So humiliating. The Zhao Yi's face was full of indulgent smiles. It's not a big deal. Don't be shy. And don't feel embarrassed either. You young men nowadays, as long as you keep your bottom line. And don't do anything illegal or criminal. It's good to relax and relieve stress appropriately. I looked at her with moved eyes. Senior, you're so considerate. The Zhao Yi's fondness was almost overflowing. It's late. Let me take you home. I grinned broadly. Then thank you, senior. Qingyan was in the car, watching me smile flirtatiously at a strange woman. A surge of anger rose in her heart. She opened the car door and said coldly to me, "Get in." Su, Ziken, Emmy, and the Zhao Yi were all standing outside the police station. Qingyan's Maybach was parked at the entrance, but no one had noticed it. Her sudden words froze the atmosphere. Only then did I notice her. Qingyan instantly frowned. Why are you here? Qingyan was so angry at the way I treated her differently that she laughed. Ziken stepped in to smooth things over. When you went to make that call, I was already with Qingyan. She came to pick you up. I forced a smile and said to the Zhao Yi, "Senior, thank you so much for coming to pick me up. Another day, if I get the chance, I'll treat you to a meal. I'm heading back first. You should head home early too. I really troubled you tonight. Calling her at this hour already made me feel embarrassed enough." The Zhao Yi nodded slightly. "It's no trouble. If you ever need anything, you can find me anytime. Then I'll go first. Send me a message when you get home safely." After saying goodbye to Senior, I didn't want to ride in Qingyan's car, but since she had already come, and I didn't want to argue with Qingyan or waste energy, I got straight into the car. I waved at Su. "I'm heading back first. Let's meet another day." The Maybach sped away. The atmosphere inside the car was oppressive. Even the driver could clearly feel the low pressure. Qingyan sat on one side with a cold face, while I sat on the other side scrolling through my phone. I completely ignored the low-pressure Qingyan beside me. The car quickly arrived at the villa. I got out directly and went straight to my room. Just as I was about to close the door, it was forcefully blocked. I turned around and saw Qingyan with a dark expression, one hand bracing against the door. "Why didn't you call me?" I felt Qingyan must have taken the wrong medicine lately. If it were the old her, she would never have asked such a stupid question. "I'm very tired. I want to rest." Qingyan's deep eyes stared at me intently. Why? There was a deeply obsessive light in her eyes, as if she had to know the reason. A nameless anger rose in my heart. I looked at her with a half-smile. "You want to know why, right? Fine. I'll tell you why." I took out my phone and dialed Li Qian's number right in front of her. The phone rang for a long time with no answer, then disconnected automatically. My face remained expressionless as I called Li Qian again. This time, Li Qian answered before long. I got straight to the point. "I'm at the police station. Tell Qingyan to come pick me up." Li Qian's cold voice came through the phone. "Songxian, you got yourself into the police station. Something this embarrassing, and you still have the nerve to ask President Su to pick you up. Find someone yourself. President Su is very busy. She doesn't have time to pick you up." After saying that, she coldly hung up. A crack appeared on Qingyan's beautiful face. "Why didn't you call me directly?" I raised an eyebrow. "Good question." Then I directly used my phone to call Qingyan. The moment it connected, a cold automated message came from my phone. "Sorry, the number you dialed is currently busy. Please try again later." I crossed my arms and sneered, looking at her mockingly. "Satisfied now?" Qingyan looked at the phone in her hand. I had called her. Why couldn't she receive it? I looked at the confusion on her face and kindly reminded her, "You blocked me." Qingyan was struck like lightning. She remembered. There was a period of time when she found me annoying, thinking I called all day long. So she directly blocked me, telling me to contact her assistant if I needed anything. That way, her world would be a little quieter. How long ago was that? 1 year ago? Or 2? She couldn't remember. Then right in front of me, she opened her blacklist. My phone number lay there all alone. I said sarcastically. Can I rest now? Can you leave now? A trace of bitterness rose in Su Qingyan's heart. She looked into my eyes. And for the first time, tried to explain. I forgot. I immediately raised my hand in a stopping gesture. Stop right there, that's your business. It has nothing to do with me. I just want to rest now. As I spoke, I impatiently shut the door, leaving Su Qingyan outside. Su Qingyan looked at the tightly closed door and suddenly felt a wave of helplessness. Back when she had blocked me, it was because she was extremely busy with work, but my calls came nonstop all day long. And she truly had no energy to deal with them, so she simply blocked me, telling me to contact her assistant if needed. She had also told the assistant that unless it was important, there was no need to report it to her. Just brush me off. Later, after everything was handled, she actually forgot to unblock me. Perhaps deep down, she felt this arrangement was more convenient. She just never expected Qingyan would even humiliate me over it. It was easy to imagine that when I skillfully made the second call. I already knew this wasn't the first time it had happened. Su Qingyan took out her phone and called Shenziken. Are you home yet? I'm looking for your brother. Can you hand him the phone? Shenziken passed the phone to Shen Weixu. Su Qingyan is looking for you. Shen Weixu twitched his lips. Why is she looking for me? Then Shen Weixu took the phone. You wanted me? Su Qingyan asked. You're close with Songshin. You should know what he likes. Tell me. I want to coax him. Shen Weixu laughed as if he had heard the biggest joke in the world. He wants freedom. He wants to break up with you. If you just break up with him, he'll be very happy. He doesn't need anything else. Honestly, Shen Weixu really understood me. He had perfectly stated what I wanted. Shenziken smacked him on the forehead. Stop talking nonsense. Be serious. Shen Weixu sneered. How am I joking? I'm telling the truth. When Xian liked her before, she did nothing. Now that he doesn't like her anymore, she's doing all this useless stuff. She won't even break up cleanly. After Shen Weixu said that, he stuffed the phone back into Shenziken's hand and couldn't be bothered with Su Qingyan anymore. Shenziken helplessly said to Su Qingyan, he's talking nonsense. Don't mind him, Su Qingyan responded coolly. Then hung up. She glanced at my tightly closed bedroom door upstairs and let out a helpless sigh. She called her assistant, Lu Chun. Arrange an engagement banquet. Even grander than the last one. Everything must be done to the highest standard. Lu Chun's heart trembled. He still instinctively asked, you mean to rebook the engagement banquet? With whom? Su Qingyan's voice was icy. Who else could it be? Other than Songshin, who else? Lu Chun hurriedly replied, yes, I understand. Su Qingyan said coldly, do it immediately. Every detail must be perfect. After hanging up, Lu Chun still found it unbelievable. No, he couldn't let the engagement banquet happen. He directly called Ji Mingxuan. Mr. Ji. There's something I need to tell you. Early the next morning, before I was even awake, Zhang Jingyi's loud shouting echoed through the villa. I didn't want to bother with her, but her voice was so loud I couldn't sleep at all. I could only open the door with sleepy eyes. Downstairs, Zhang Jingyi was smashing things nonstop. Chunyi stood skillfully by the kitchen door without saying a word. When Madame Su, Zhang Jingyi, saw me come out, her brows instantly shot up in anger. Her eyes were full of rage. Songshin, why didn't you come yesterday? Do you know or not that you made me lose so much face? I leaned against the second floor railing, smiling all over my face. Ms. Zhang, face is earned by yourself, not given by others. If you lost face, it's because you had none. It has nothing to do with me. Zhang Jingyi's face darkened. Did you just call me shameless? I shrugged. Those were your words, not mine. Zhang Jingyi snapped. How dare you speak to me like that, with your low-class appearance? You think you can become the Su family's son-in-law? Then she looked at me with disdain. If you want to be my son-in-law, you have to obey me. You must serve me properly. Or don't even dream of it. I rubbed my still sleepy face. Yes, you're absolutely right. Your Su family has many rules and a grand status. Hurry and find your daughter someone of equal standing. I think Ji Mingxuan is pretty good. You should hurry and match them up. Zhang Jingyi froze. She clearly hadn't expected me to react like that. With me, mentioning Ji Mingxuan used to be a guaranteed explosion. One touch, and I'd blow up. But now I was actually taking the initiative to pair Ji Mingxuan with Su Qingyan, and my tone even carried a hint of disdain for Su Qingyan. Zhang Jingyi was instantly displeased. Songxian, who are you to look down on my daughter? My daughter is the most outstanding and youngest person in power in the capital. My Su family is also a prestigious noble family in the capital. The fact that you could cling to my daughter is a blessing your ancestors earned for 3 generations. I nodded. Yes. I'm not good enough for your daughter, but hurry up and match her with someone else, so Su Qingyan will stop keeping me here and refusing to let me leave. Zhang Jingyi was confused. She felt that all her punches today had landed on cotton. My daughter is so outstanding. What kind of reaction is that? I smiled. I admit your daughter is outstanding, but that has nothing to do with me. I'm not marrying her anymore. After hearing my words, Zhang Jingyi's eyes filled with disbelief. What did you say? You're not marrying my daughter? My voice was calm. Not anymore. A dull ache spread through my chest. My dream had always been to marry Su Qingyan, and I had always worked hard for that dream. But now it could no longer come true. 2 incompatible people are incompatible by nature. A forced melon is never sweet. Zhang Jingyi immediately pointed at the door. You said that yourself. Then right now. Leave my daughter's villa immediately. My eyes lit up. I'll go right away. Then I happily ran downstairs. This was Su Qingyan's mother driving me out. I was being kicked out. However, when I reached the stairs, my wrist was suddenly grabbed by strong force. Then I met Su Qingyan's cold gaze. Where are you going? I looked at her in surprise. At this hour, Su Qingyan actually hadn't gone to work. I shook off her hand and curled my lips. Your mom told me to leave. When Zhang Jingyi saw Su Qingyan was still in the villa, she was also surprised, but she quickly reacted. A yawn. Songxian has finally stopped clinging to you. Hurry and make him get out. I'll find you someone better. Didn't you always like Ji Mingxuan? I'll arrange it for you. I kept nodding beside them, urging Zhang Jingyi to hurry up and arrange it. And after hearing Zhang Jingyi's words, Su Qingyan's delicate face instantly darkened. Who told you I like Ji Mingxuan? From now on, my affairs are none of your business. You came here early in the morning smashing things, and now you're trying to drive him away. Zhang Jingyi panicked when she heard that. A yawn. This really isn't my fault. I asked Songxian to come to the old house yesterday, but he stood me up. He made those sisters of mine laugh at me. Su Qingyan said coldly. It was right that he didn't go. What would he go for? To be treated like your servant? My affairs are not for you to meddle in. Just be your Madam Su in peace. If you come here causing trouble again, I'll send you back to Dong City. Zhang Jingyi's face turned pale. She shouted at Su Qingyan in disbelief. I'm your biological mother. You're sending me back to Dong City because of Songxian. Have you lost your mind? A trace of impatience flashed across Su Qingyan's face. If you don't leave right now, I'll send you back to Dong City immediately. Zhang Jingyi was furious and unwilling, but helpless. In the end, she glared at me hatefully, then turned and left. If it were the old me, I would have stepped in to smooth things over. Now, what did their mother-daughter issues have to do with me? When I saw Zhang Jingyi leave, I was about to go too. But just as I turned around, Su Qingyan grabbed my wrist. I raised an eyebrow. What? Su Qingyan's cold eyes flashed with something I couldn't understand. Come to the company with me. I refused directly. No. But Su Qingyan held tightly onto my wrist. Her voice was forceful and left no room for refusal. You're going whether you want to or not. I pursed my lips. I can't go in pajamas, can I? Su Qingyan looked me over and saw I really was in pajamas, so she released my hand. I'll wait downstairs. I rolled my eyes directly. Then I went upstairs to change clothes. After that, I opened my phone and posted a moment's update visible only to Ji Mingxuan. Yay. Qingyan is taking me to play at her company. So happy. Attached was a handsome selfie of me. I refused to believe it. Ji Mingxuan, the master manipulator, would still be able to sit still after seeing that post. After that, I came to her company with Su Qingyan. Su Qingyan held my hand and brought me to the 58th floor. After passing the secretary area, we reached the special assistant area. Lu Cheng and Li Qian were both at their desks. Su Qingyan brought me into the office, but when she reached the door, she suddenly stopped, then turned back and walked to Li Qian. Li Qian, hand over your work. You're fired. Li Qian's expression changed instantly. Then she hurriedly said in panic, President Su, did I do something wrong? Please give me one more chance. I'll definitely change. Lu Cheng also pleaded from the side. President Su, is there some misunderstanding? I used to supervise her work, and I've always watched her performance. She has always completed everything perfectly. There was no expression on Su Qingyan's face. She only looked coldly at Li Qian. You don't even know what you did wrong. What right do you have to stay? The company will give you proper compensation. Leave the company now. I was surprised. Why was Su Qingyan suddenly firing Li Qian? Then a thought suddenly flashed through my mind. Could it be because of me? But I immediately dismissed. Such an absurd thought. I wasn't worth Su Qingyan doing this for. I shouldn't flatter myself. Li Qian felt uneasy, but then her gaze suddenly landed on me beside Su Qingyan. In an instant, she seemed to understand something. Her eyes were as venomous as poison. As she glared viciously at me, it was you, wasn't it? You badmouthed me in front of the president. You tattled, Songxian, our personal grudge. And you had to ruin my job. How can you be so shameless? I wasn't going to tolerate that. Why were you fired? Don't you know perfectly well yourself? And the one who fired you was Su Qingyan. If you feel wronged, ask her. Why are you barking at me? But Li Qian was convinced it was because of me. Otherwise, why would Su Qingyan suddenly fire her? It's you bitch. Before she could finish speaking, Su Qingyan kicked her with a cold expression. Li Qian fell to the floor in a miserable and humiliating posture. Su Qingyan looked down at her arrogantly. Who gave you the nerve to insult him? If Li Qian dared to curse me right in front of her, then behind her back, she must have done even worse things countless times. I'd rather call my senior sister than call her. Or call her assistant. What I got instead was mockery and insults. Su Qingyan's eyes turned icy cold. Get over here right now. The atmosphere instantly dropped below freezing. But at that moment, a male voice called out, Qingyan? What's wrong? Ji Mingxuan stood behind us in a white shirt. When Li Qian saw Ji Mingxuan arrive, it was like seeing a life-saving straw. Her voice carried a trace of grievance. Mr. Ji, the president wants to fire me. While complaining to Ji Mingxuan, her venomous gaze landed on me again. It was as if she were accusing me of being the reason Su Qingyan fired her. A trace of surprise flashed across Ji Mingxuan's face. Then he looked at Su Qingyan. Qingyan, did Sister Li Qian do something wrong? Why do you want to fire her? Sister Li Qian has always worked hard. It wasn't easy for her to come this far. If someone... Ji Mingxuan glanced at me meaningfully. Qingyan, please give Sister Li Qian another chance. She really has it hard. Hearing that obvious accusation, I was so angry I laughed. Every single one of them was such a drama queen. So annoying. Fine. Then I looked at Su Qingyan and imitated Ji Mingxuan's tone. Qingyan, Sister Li Qian works so hard. Even if she took side jobs and leaked the contract reserve price, that's still no reason for you to fire her. It wasn't easy for her to come out of the mountains. You should forgive her. Li Qian's expression changed. Ji Mingxuan looked at me with heartache and disappointment. Xian, you've gone too far. To make Qingyan fire Sister Li Qian, you actually said something so irresponsible. Do you even know how much damage your words could cause Sister Li Qian? She could be blacklisted by the whole industry. I sneered at him. So you do know that talking nonsense can hurt people? You people are ridiculous. If I really had the power to make Su Qingyan fire Li Qian, would Li Qian have lasted until now? Ji Mingxuan glared at me angrily. If it wasn't you, then Qingyan, why would she suddenly fire Sister Li Qian for no reason? I shrugged. That's something you should ask Su Qingyan. Why ask me? I'm not a worm in her stomach. Then I turned and smiled at Li Qian. If you haven't done anything against the company, there's no need to feel guilty. But if you did do something against the company, then you're about to have bad luck. Li Qian's guilty brows tightened. She rushed forward to hit me. But she was too nervous and too guilty. She tripped over her own leg and fell flat on her face. I sneered. Your bad luck has started. Those words were meant to remind Su Qingyan. Li Qian was already feeling guilty. After falling and embarrassing herself like that, her emotions twisted instantly. She scrambled up and swung at my face. But her hand never landed. Su Qingyan caught her wrist. Su Qingyan's cold gaze fell on her. Li Qian, right in front of me. You dare hit my man? Su Qingyan violently flung Li Qian's hand away. Li Qian's face turned deathly pale. She staggered back several steps. Lu Cheng watched from the side in fear. Li Qian had truly lost her mind. Su Qingyan was still right there. She actually tried to hit me. Some things might pass if done in private, but doing it right in front of Su Qingyan was asking for death. Ji Mingxuan also jumped in. Qingyan. This isn't Sister Li Qian's fault. It was Xian who provoked Sister Li Qian. Su Qingyan coldly cut him off. I fired a traitor who betrayed the company. Do I need your permission? Ji Mingxuan's face instantly turned pale. Since all the years they'd known each other, this was the first time Su Qingyan had treated him coldly. He didn't dare say another word. Su Qingyan looked coldly at Li Qian. I'll have people investigate exactly what you did, and I'll pursue your liability according to the law. Now get out. Hearing those words, Li Qian trembled violently. She could only turn and flee in disgrace. With a cold face, Su Qingyan pulled me into the office by the hand. Ji Mingxuan followed closely behind, but just as he was about to enter, the office door shut tightly. He was locked outside. Ji Mingxuan's body swayed. His face turned pale as paper. He instinctively turned to look at Lu Cheng. Even Lu Cheng felt that Su Qingyan was acting strangely today. Inside the room, when I saw Su Qingyan shut the door, I hurried to open it. Ji Mingxuan hasn't come in yet. Back when I disliked Ji Mingxuan, I never wanted him to interfere. With any chance, I had to be alone with Su Qingyan. But now I didn't want to be alone with Su Qingyan. I wanted Ji Mingxuan between us even more. But Su Qingyan grabbed my wrist and stared at me with those cool eyes. Why do you think I fired Li Qian? I shrugged. Because you found out Li Qian betrayed you. You know, my crow-mouth curse never misses. Su Qingyan said directly, I did it for you. The expression on my face was indescribable. Su Qingyan, whatever decisions you make are your own business. Don't drag me into it. Su Qingyan's cool gaze settled on me. I didn't know she had disrespected you so much before. I only found out yesterday. That's why I fired Li Qian. I understood what Su Qingyan meant. My eyes were full of confusion and disbelief, but looking at her serious gaze, an inexplicable irritation rose in my heart. Su Qingyan, are you sick? You didn't explain or care before, so why are you doing all this now? Do you think it'll move me? You really don't need to bother. Su Qingyan could see the rejection on my face. A trace of helplessness flashed across her face. What happened at the engagement banquet was my fault. I really lacked consideration. Forgive me. I curled my lips, but my heart felt unbearably bitter. In the 7 years I had loved Su Qingyan, this was the first time she had humbled herself to coax me. She thought it was about the engagement banquet, but she didn't understand that the engagement banquet was only the last straw that broke the camel's back. I looked at her calmly. Su Qingyan, I forgive you for the engagement banquet, but we're already over. Wouldn't a peaceful breakup be better? Su Qingyan raised a finger and pressed it to my lips. Her eyes were full of tenderness. Her voice was gentle. No breakup. I know I treated you badly before. Give me another chance. I'll make it up to you with an even grander engagement banquet. I won't neglect you anymore. Okay, my heart ached bitterly. So she had known everything. Then why did she wait until I had tasted all the bitterness and pain of love before regretting it? My heart was already riddled with scars. Su Qingyan, Mr. G. What's wrong? Lu Chun's startled cry came from the doorway. Then the next second, the office door was pounded hard. Lu Chun's panicked voice rang out, President Su. Mr. G has fainted. Almost instantly, Su Qingyan, whose breath had been on my face, had already rushed to the doorway. She yanked the door open. Ji Mingxuan had collapsed on the floor, pale-faced. Su Qingyan, without a word, bent down and helped Ji Mingxuan up. She rushed straight for the elevator. I saw it clearly. In Su Qingyan's arms. Ji Mingxuan opened his eyes and gave me a smug, provocative smile. My heart was filled with bitterness, just like the countless times over the past 7 years. Su Qingyan had once again chosen Ji Mingxuan without hesitation. Just 1 minute ago, she had said she wouldn't ignore me anymore. I took a deep breath. Su Qingyan's car sped all the way to the hospital. While in the car, she had already contacted Hu Jing. By the time they reached the hospital entrance, Hu Jing was already waiting anxiously outside. She quickly led Su Qingyan and brought Ji Mingxuan into the emergency room. Then she closed the door. Inside the emergency room, only Hu Jing remained. She was nowhere near as anxious as when facing Su Qingyan. Instead, she leisurely sat down in a chair. She looked at Ji Mingxuan lying on the hospital bed. With helpless affection, she pinched his cheek. "Stop pretending." The words were clearly a scolding. Yet from her tone, it carried obvious fondness. Ji Mingxuan slowly opened his eyes. He looked at her guiltily and helplessly. "Sister Hu Jing, I'm sorry. I used you again." Hu Jing shook her head. Her voice was gentle. "Mingxuan, if you keep doing this, pretending to be sick isn't a solution. You should be able to tell that Su Qingyan has no romantic feelings for you." Ji Mingxuan's tears suddenly streamed down. "Why can Song Xian have her? But I can't. How am I worse than Song Xian?" Qingyan agreed to marry him not because she loves him. He was just lucky enough to take a knife for Su Qingyan. A year ago, Su Qingyan encountered an attacker. The man stabbed at her with a knife. At that critical moment, I rushed forward without hesitation and took that fatal stab for Su Qingyan. I lay in the hospital for 3 months. It was also from that time on that Su Qingyan agreed to get engaged to me. Su Qingyan isn't someone deeply driven by love. She values responsibility more. Because I was stabbed for her, she would take responsibility for me for life. Just like she takes responsibility for Ji Mingxuan. Hu Jing sighed deeply. Su Qingyan owes both you and Ji Mingxuan. She has to balance both sides. Responsibility keeps her from letting go of either. She touched Ji Mingxuan's head. "Don't worry. I'll help you." Ji Mingxuan hugged her gratefully. "Sister Hu Jing, thank you." Soon after, Hu Jing walked out of the She sighed. "Qingyan, you know Mingxuan can't handle stimulation. He happily went to see you today." How could he suddenly faint? Was Song Xian also at the company? Su Qingyan frowned. There was an unresolved heaviness between her brows. Only when Ji Mingxuan brought up the past just now did she remember me, whom she had left behind at the company. She called her special assistant, Lu Chun. Lu Chun said that right after she left with Ji Mingxuan, I had left as well. She sent me a message, but I didn't reply. Why hadn't she allowed me to go to her company all these years? Because Ji Mingxuan was in poor health. He couldn't handle stimulation. The moment he was upset, he would faint and relapse, and seeing me would always upset him. Ji Mingxuan especially liked going to her company. To prevent Ji Mingxuan from being triggered, she never allowed me to go there. Was that fair to me? Su Qingyan said to Hu Jing. Mingxuan's condition is this serious. I've already contacted a medical team overseas. Take Mingxuan abroad for treatment. Hu Jing froze. You're sending Mingxuan away. Su Qingyan's heavy gaze fell on Hu Jing. His condition will be treated better overseas. Isn't that right? Hu Jing was speechless. But you clearly know that staying by your side is what helps him recover. Su Qingyan interrupted her. I'm going to get married. I'll have a family and children in the future. I can't stay unmarried forever because of him. Take him abroad for treatment. Once Xian and I hold the engagement banquet, the wedding, and get our marriage certificate. Then come back. The emergency room door opened. Ji Mingxuan ran out and threw himself into Su Qingyan's arms. I'm not leaving. I'm not going overseas for treatment. Sister Qingyan, please don't send me away. Begging him, Su Qingyan gently pushed him away. She looked at him seriously. Mingxuan, treatment overseas is better for you. I'll arrange everything for you. When you're fully recovered, I'll bring you back. Ji Mingxuan kept shaking his head. I'm not leaving, Sister Qingyan. I'm fine now. I don't want to leave you. Hu Jing couldn't bear to see him like this. Qingyan, Mingxuan's condition is already under control. Actually, there's no need to go abroad for treatment. Su Qingyan's brows turned cold. Her tone carried unquestionable firmness. The overseas medical team is more professional. It will be better for him. Ji Mingxuan had no idea how things had turned out like this. Why was Su Qingyan sending him away? She had never been this heartless to him before. Seeing him like this, Su Qingyan sighed. I'll arrange everything for you overseas. Hu Jing will go with you too. You won't be alone. Your health is poor. Go lie down and get some proper rest first. After saying that, Su Qingyan left. Ji Mingxuan cried out in despair, "Sister Qingyan, don't go." But all that answered him was Su Qingyan's back. When I was leaving Su Corporation, I happened to receive a call from Shen Weixu. I answered it. "You went to Su Corporation?" I was surprised. "How did you know?" "From the time I entered to when I left, it probably wasn't even 15 minutes. Shen Weixu snorted coldly. "You and Su Qingyan have always been the center of attention in the capital, especially after your engagement banquet. Every move you to make now is everyone's focus." When you and Su Qingyan entered Su Corporation together, photos were already spreading through the social group chats. What Shen Weixu didn't say was that everyone had been betting on me all along. After Su Qingyan canceled the engagement, how long it would take for me, who stormed out, to come back and beg, that bet had been canceled and replaced with a new one. They were betting whether Su Qingyan and I would hold another engagement banquet this time. The time limit was 6 months. So, when Su Qingyan and I entered Su Corporation intimately together, the elite circle of the capital exploded. Without Shen Weixu spelling it out, I already understood what he meant. I smiled and said, "How long did you bet for?" On the other end, Shen Weixu angrily pounded the table. "I wanted to bet 3 days. But Su Qingyan's gone crazy and won't let you leave now." "What's going on with Su Qingyan? Don't tell me she really likes you now." I smiled. "I used to think she liked me, but I don't think that anymore. Su Qingyan is someone with a strong sense of responsibility. The stab wound I took for her made her sense of duty force her to take responsibility for me." I hung up the call with Shen Weixu. Then Su Qingyan's WeChat video call came in. I directly pretended not to see it. Su Qingyan looked at the automatically disconnected call. She actually understood that I simply didn't want to answer. Sitting in the car, she let out a helpless, bitter laugh. It felt like she had dug a pit for herself, and now absurdly jumped into it herself. She didn't like this feeling of losing control. After I hung up on Shen Weixu, another new call came in. It was Dr. Jin. I answered it. "Mr. Song, today is your scar removal appointment. When will you come over?" "I'm free right now. I'll head over now." Once I arrived at the hospital, I saw that familiar Maybach parked at the entrance. The corners of my mouth twitched awkwardly. Hadn't Su Qingyan taken Ji Mingxuan to the hospital? Why was she here? When Su Qingyan saw me arrive, she naturally walked to my side. "I'll accompany you." I really felt Su Qingyan had taken the wrong medicine. Actually, in the beginning, Su Qingyan had accompanied me here before, but the treatment process took 6 hours. To Su Qingyan, who handled countless affairs daily, that was just a waste of time. After coming twice, she never wanted to come again. I gave her a fake smile and pushed her away. "No need. It's boring and a waste of time. You should go back to the company and work. You have so many people to support. You can't be delayed." Su Qingyan didn't let me push her away. Instead, she looked at me with interest. "You don't want me to follow, because you're afraid I'll see you without clothes." My expression management instantly failed. Then I shrugged. "If you want to come, then come. Anyway, it's her time being wasted, not mine." Dr. Jin was already waiting for me. He directly led me to the VIP room. Su Qingyan also wanted to come in. I took off my coat and stuffed it together with my phone into Su Qingyan's hands. Then I stopped her outside the door. Su Qingyan did not insist. Actually, she didn't have the courage to face the scar on my back. That stab had almost taken my life. I took it to save her. The door closed. Su Qingyan sat quietly in the VIP lounge waiting for me. Suddenly, my phone gave a notification sound. She glanced at it, saw it was WeChat, and casually opened it. The moment she saw the contents, her cool face instantly turned livid. "Li Qian had sent. Why don't you take a piss? And look at what kind of background you come from. You still want to marry the president. You're just a toad lusting after swan meat." At the engagement banquet, it felt awful when the bride ran away, didn't it? The president's attitude is already obvious. She doesn't care about you at all. Why are you still shamelessly clinging on? Do you have no dignity or shame at all? If I were you, I would have killed myself from shame already. So what if you got me removed? You're just a pathetic lapdog. The president would never take you seriously. Go die, go die. Su Qingyan sat there, watching message after message of unbearable insults from Li Qian. More kept popping up as she scrolled upward. The earlier ones were slightly milder than these, but they were still full of provocation. There was a photo she had taken of Su Qingyan, keeping watch beside Ji Mingxuan's hospital bed. Her brows were lowered, and her eyes were full of tenderness. The picture looked harmonious and warm. Miss Su is accompanying Mr. Ji. Please don't disturb them, even if today is your birthday. There was also a short video of her drinking with Shen Zikan. Shen Zikan asked her, "You just got back from a business trip. You're not going to see Song Xian." She impatiently downed a glass of wine herself. "Not going. He's throwing a tantrum. Let him cool off himself." Su Qingyan kept scrolling upward. There was still so much more content. Many of them were photos of her accompanying Ji Mingxuan, and Li Qian had captioned them, "Do not disturb." Su Qingyan's pale fingers clenched the phone tightly. A storm brewed in her eyes. What should be done with Li Qian? Su Qingyan took out her phone and called Zheng Zhaoxiao from the legal department. "Investigate what Li Qian did in the company. Collect evidence and file it for me. Sue her directly until she goes to jail." Zheng Zhaoxiao hung up the phone. Her face was full of confusion, but helping the boss solve problems was part of her duty. After gathering the evidence, Zheng Zhaoxiao immediately called the police. The police then contacted Li Qian right away. When Li Qian heard that Su Corporation was suing her, her world collapsed. At that moment, she thought of Ji Mingxuan. Ji Mingxuan was the only one who could save her. As for Ji Mingxuan, he really had been knocked unconscious by Su Qingyan's coldness, but he woke up very quickly. When Li Qian's call came in, Ji Mingxuan had already adjusted his emotions. Seeing Li Qian's call, Ji Mingxuan said to Hu Jing, "Sister Hu Jing, I'm taking a call." Hu Jing nodded and stood up. "Make sure you rest." Then she walked out of the hospital room. After Hu Jing left, Ji Mingxuan answered the phone. "Mr. Ji, President Su is suing me. Please save me." Ji Mingxuan's expression changed. "How is that possible? Sister Qingyan isn't that kind of person." Li Qian was already sobbing on the other end. "It's true, Mr. Ji. President Su is serious this time." Ji Mingxuan asked Li Qian, "Did you do something?" Li Qian, she stammered, "I sent messages insulting Song Xian. President Su saw them." Ji Mingxuan cursed Li Qian in his heart for being stupid. She had actually left evidence behind. He quickly calculated things in his mind, then said to Li Qian, "Don't panic. I'll plead with Sister Qingyan for you. I'll contact you if there's news." After hanging up, the innocence vanished from Ji Mingxuan's face. In its place was a trace of ruthlessness. Whatever Su Qingyan decided, she never changed it. So Li Qian was already a discarded piece. He wouldn't waste resources on that pawn anymore. But he could still use that pawn's last remaining value. Li Qian was impulsive, hot-tempered, and selfish. As long as she used that weakness, she could make Song Xian suffer. Meanwhile, when I came out of the treatment room, I didn't see Su Qingyan in the lounge outside. I directly prepared to leave. Suddenly, a shout came from ahead. I stopped walking. When I saw who was standing in front of me, my feet itched to kick him. It was Zhou Jing, my biological father's illegitimate son. I smiled and nodded. "You really should get more cosmetic work done. Being ugly enough to scare people isn't good, right?" Zhou Jing's face twisted with anger. I quickly reminded him, "Take it easy. If your face gets crooked, that'll be bad." When he saw my mocking smile, he realized he'd been fooled. His face turned red with rage. I couldn't be bothered with him, and directly moved past him. But he grabbed me. "Dad asked me to ask whether you mentioned the cooperation deal with Su Corporation to Su Qingyan." I coldly shook off his hand. "That's your dad, not mine. If he wants to cooperate with Su Corporation, let him go to them. Looking for me is useless." My biological father, Zhou Weiming, also had his own company in the capital. His personal assets exceeded 100 million. In ordinary people's eyes, he was rich. But in a place like the capital, where rich people were everywhere, his little achievements were nothing impressive. Zhou Weiming cheated and fooled around, hooked up with Zhou Jing's mother, seized the original wife's family property, and drove her away. The mistress, the scumbag man, and the illegitimate son lived happily ever after. But my mother took me far away, and in the end died young in an accident. Later, Zhou Weiming discovered I had become Su Qingyan's fiancé, so he shamelessly came to acknowledge me as his son. The moment he opened his mouth, he asked me for a billion-yuan project from Su Corporation. Truly shameless. I wished for nothing more than his bankruptcy and ruin in the streets. How could I possibly help him rise to wealth and glory? Dream on. Zhou Jing laughed disdainfully. Song Xian, You. What are you pretending for? Can you still help anyone now? I was only testing you. You were abandoned on the engagement day. Wasn't that humiliating? How do you still have the nerve to stay in the capital? If I were you, I'd have smashed my head into tofu and died already. I looked at him with a fake smile. Why should I die? What does it matter that Qingyan and I canceled the engagement banquet? What's so embarrassing about it? When couples can't work things out, breaking up right before the engagement isn't anything unusual. At least Qingyan and I were together openly before, officially and properly. As for you, I looked at him with amused eyes. The mistress's son will never be presentable. Zhou Jing could no longer take it. He charged straight at me. I sneered. As he lunged at me, I sidestepped. Then I clearly heard Zhou Jing's bones pop out of place. The next second, he collapsed face first onto the ground, badly hurt. It only proved how malicious he was toward me. I felt no sympathy for him at all. Instead, I crouched down in front of him. I grabbed Zhou Jing by the chin. I'll ask you this. Were you in Dunhuang 3 years ago? Zhou Jing angrily slapped my hand away. None of your damn business. I stood up. Back then, that private room was somewhere Zhou Jing had no status to enter. But I knew very well that I saw Zhou Jing in Dunhuang that day. Given how despicable Zhou Jing was, there was a high chance he drugged me. I looked at Zhou Jing. If it was you who drugged me, Zhou Jing, your face will rot. Zhou Jing mocked me. So, Qingyan thinks you drugged someone? Songxian, don't you think you're pathetic? Even I know you're not the type to drug anyone. But Qingyan doesn't believe you. Tell me, you've given her your whole heart. Does she care? My chest tightened. A bitter ache rose in my heart. Even Zhou Jing knew I would never drug anyone. Yet in Qingyan's eyes, I was someone that vile. I laughed at myself. My taste in people was terrible. I admit I loved the wrong person. I turned and carefully left. But at the corner I saw Qingyan. She was leaning lazily against the wall, with no expression on her face. Only a probing gaze fell on me. She startled me badly. You didn't leave. Then, I took my phone back from Qingyan's hand. She only glanced at whether there were any messages on her phone. There was nothing. So I put my phone into my pocket, then walked out of the hospital. Qingyan followed behind me. She was thinking about what she had just heard. Qingyan had a very unusual upbringing. The Su family was one of the top elite families in the capital. Old Master Su had once acted decisively, making bold decisions, and brought the Su family to the top of the pyramid. But he had made too many enemies, and there were many problems within the family too. Old Master Su originally had 3 sons, but in the end only Qingyan's father remained. Her father was a useless wastrel, spending every day fooling around, with no talent for business at all. Zhang Jingyi came from an ordinary family, but she was beautiful. So, Qingyan's father pursued her, after they had been together for some time. During their relationship, Qingyan's father got into a car accident. He injured his private parts and lost the ability to have children. Yet Zhang Jingyi was fortunate enough to become pregnant. The child in her belly would be the Su family's only bloodline. So she married into the Su family and became Mrs. Su. But she was a complete love-struck fool. When Qingyan was little, she was merely a tool to her. She often beat and scolded Qingyan, and even used Qingyan's body to gain sympathy. She made her take cold baths, made her stand outside all night, and pushed her down the stairs. All to make her husband, who was lost among women, come home. But a man's guilt and pity might work once or twice, but after too many times he became numb. The most serious time, Qingyan had a fever of 41 degrees. If the butler hadn't found her in time, Qingyan would have died or been crippled. After Grandpa Su learned the truth, he decisively took Qingyan to live by his side and raised her himself. At that time, Qingyan was already 8 years old. She knew she was only a tool her mother used to control her father, and in front of her unfaithful father. Although she was his only child, still, she wasn't enough to make him give up the pleasures outside. With her grandfather, she was the heir with high expectations placed on her. She grew up without love, while bearing all kinds of pressure and burdens. That was what shaped her cold personality today. To her, feelings were the most useless thing. She had never been loved. Nor had she ever loved anyone else. Why was she special toward me? Because only I loved her unconditionally, loved her as a person, and was willing to do anything for her, to win her. Drugging her would seem normal, yet she wasn't angry, and even went along with it. I was her first man, but she had never doubted that I wasn't the one who drugged her. She didn't need to understand me, nor did she want to spend effort coaxing me. Now, as she looked at my eyes carrying a trace of resistance, a faint stabbing pain rose in her chest. And then there was what I said. I loved the wrong person, I admit it. So I regretted it, and took back my love. After getting in the car, Qingyan said, I didn't have dinner with you yesterday. Let's go today. I replied carelessly. Then my phone suddenly rang. Qingyan glanced over and saw Senior Zhao Yi. Senior, I'll be there right away. I hung up and said to Qingyan, something came up at school. You go eat by yourself. As I spoke, I moved to get out of the car. Qingyan grabbed my hand. Is she that important? I frowned. Are you sick or something? It's related to my studies. I don't want to repeat another year. Qingyan heard that, and instinctively let go of my hand. I had taken a year off school, because I blocked that knife for her. If not for that, I would already have graduated by now, instead of miserably making up my senior year courses. She hesitated, but I walked away without mercy. I hurriedly hailed a taxi to school. Senior said on the phone that one of the teacher's peach blossom paintings was missing. The teacher urgently needed it for a competition. I had been the one keeping that painting. There were many lockers in the studio, but if it was with me, only I had the key. Soon the taxi stopped at the school gate, and I sprinted straight to the studio. Panting heavily, I reached the studio door. The Zhao Yi was waiting inside. Her slender figure looked elegant and noble. She gently poured me a glass of water. Her eyes curved with an indulgent smile. I told you not to rush, yet you ran this hard. Drink some water first. I took it and drank a sip, then ran to the studio locker. I took out my personal key and opened it. The peach blossom painting the teacher made was neatly placed inside. I carefully took it out. Senior, here. The Zhao Yi accepted it gently. Her beautiful face was full of smiles. I'll deliver it to the teacher. You should come too. After all, you were the one keeping this painting. It'll be good if you hand it over personally. The Zhao Yi drove the car, and I naturally rode with her. You didn't get scolded after going back yesterday, did you? I shook my head. I didn't get scolded, but Qingyan interrogated me. Just mentioning it soured my mood. And as for what happened between Qingyan and me, I didn't like talking about it with others. The Zhao Yi could tell too, so she didn't ask more. The teacher's home was in the apartment building beside the school. As soon as the two of us went upstairs and entered, my teacher, Zhuang Mingyu, warmly grabbed my hand. Xian, you're my star pupil. You've rested for a year. Now that you're back, how are you? Do you have any plans? I felt a little guilty. Actually, I understood what teacher meant. She had a quota in hand for overseas study and further training. She had asked me this question a year ago. But later I blocked a knife for Qingyan. And after a year of recovery, the matter was dropped. Now that she brought it up again, I knew she valued me. But painting wasn't what I loved. What I loved was dancing. It was only because Qingyan didn't like me dancing that I studied painting in college. I could only say, my talent for painting was astonishing too. I said guiltily, Teacher, I understand. I'll think about it seriously. Teacher Zhuang kindly patted my shoulder. This is your own matter. I don't want to force you, but I hope you'll think it through carefully. I nodded obediently. Zhuang Mingyu glanced at her own niece, then waved us both off. It's getting late. I won't keep you for dinner. You two should go. I still need to touch up the painting to prepare for tomorrow's competition. Stop disturbing me here. The Zhao Yi and I said our goodbyes. After all that fussing around, it was already dinner time. I thought of yesterday. The Zhao Yi helped bail me out of the police station. Senior, thank you for yesterday. Let me treat you to dinner. I know a steakhouse that tastes amazing. I guarantee you'll love it after one bite. The Zhao Yi put on a surprised expression. Since you say so, not trying it would definitely be my loss. Come on then, broaden my horizons. I seriously gave a thumbs up. I guarantee your satisfaction. Everyone who tries it says it's great. The Jiaoyi thoughtfully opened the passenger door for me. Your carriage awaits, Prince. I couldn't help laughing. Senior, you're pretty quick online, huh? I couldn't tell. You know, she was always an excellent student, disciplined and outstanding, while others were playing on their phones, gaming, or watching short videos. She was working hard to improve herself. Do you take me for some fossil in your eyes? Just because I don't often scroll video apps doesn't mean I never do. After all, I want to understand how young people think, so I can get closer to the person I want to be close to. As she spoke, her gentle gaze rested on me, and starlight seemed to shine in her eyes. I swallowed hard. The atmosphere suddenly turned ambiguous. As if something had exploded in my heart, I hurriedly changed the subject. Senior, drive already. If we're late, we'll have to queue. The Jiaoyi didn't mind me dodging the topic. She had understood for years already. Would she care about this little bit of time now? My heartbeat quickened. I didn't know if it was just my imagination, but only now did I belatedly realize that the Jiaoyi seemed to like me too. Soon, the two of us arrived at the restaurant. I asked enthusiastically, Senior, have you been here before? The Jiaoyi shook her head. I like healthy living. I prefer eating what I cook myself. I smiled and said, steak won't make you gain weight. It's not exactly undisciplined either. And this place really tastes amazing. Senior, you have to try it. The Jiaoyi nodded gently. Since my junior recommends it so highly, I definitely have to try it. If it's delicious, and I get hooked, I'll have to ask my junior to be my dining partner from now on. You mustn't refuse me. I felt like I was being flirted with, and the tips of my ears instantly turned red. I became a little flustered. Senior, if you think it's good after trying it, you can call me next time. The Jiaoyi smiled. Like the spring breeze in April, gentle and charming. I chose the seat where I usually sat. The Jiaoyi directly handed the menu to me. With elegant courtesy, she said, You're a regular. You order from me. I nodded. The filet mignon here is very authentic. The texture is incredible too. I'll order filet for you, Senior. The Jiaoyi smiled and nodded. I had to admit, the Jiaoyi was someone very well-mannered and very polite. She responded to every sentence, and her gaze was warm and passionate. You could feel affection through her eyes alone. Unlike Su Qingyan's cold indifference, that forever uncaring gaze, Su Qingyan would never know how much her cold eyes could hurt people. I was startled. I was actually comparing Su Qingyan and the Jiaoyi. Was I crazy? Why was I comparing them? They were two completely different people. I patted my own face and forced Su Qingyan out of my mind. Then the two of us smiled at each other, the chemistry overflowing. I didn't know that every move the Jiaoyi and I made was being watched the entire time by people in the private room beside us. Su Yurou quickly reacted, snapping a photo of that moment. I had to admit, the picture turned out great. It was full of atmosphere, and when the Jiaoyi wiped my mouth, the tenderness in her eyes was fully revealed. A shy smile was also on my face. This photo, no matter how you looked at it, it was a young couple deeply in love on a date. Su Yurou quickly sent the photo to Su Qingyan. She sent it over and added an explosive caption, Sis, Songxian is cheating on you. Su Qingyan stood in the flower room of the villa, holding a glass of red wine. As she swirled it, her mind couldn't help recalling how I left today, without the slightest reluctance. Even when she said we should eat together, I didn't care at all. She knew that before this. As long as she was willing to come home for dinner, I would make a whole table full of dishes she loved. No matter how late she came back, I would always wait for her. Sometimes Su Qingyan said she'd return, then got delayed by work the next moment. Even if it was deep into the night, I would still wait for her. But today, I didn't care at all. Su Qingyan frowned tightly. All these changes started from the cancelled engagement banquet. At that moment, the phone on the table rang. She glanced at the message on it, and instantly felt like her eyes would split with rage. Sis, Songxian is cheating on you. Su Qingyan urgently picked up the phone and opened the chat window. Su Yurou had sent her several photos. In the photos, they were all scenes of me dining with the Jiaoyi. The Jiaoyi looked elegant and gentle, while I looked at her smiling brightly, recalling my radiant and passionate smile. Qingyan suddenly felt a pain in her chest. It had been a long time since I smiled so brightly at her. Qingyan's face turned cold. She made a WeChat call to me. At my side, while eating steak. A little black pepper sauce got on the corner of my mouth. The Jiaoyi noticed it and gently took out a handkerchief to wipe it from me. I froze for a moment, then I smiled brightly. Thank you, senior. The Jiaoyi's face was filled with endless tenderness. Eat slower. Since you like it so much, I'll bring you here more often in the future. I lowered my head and smiled faintly. I thought to myself that I needed to make things clear with Qingyan soon. A clean breakup and a sweet romance were waving at me. Suddenly, my phone rang. I glanced at it and saw it was a video call from Qingyan. I frowned slightly without showing it. Then I directly put it on Do Not Disturb. After the unanswered call hung up automatically, a message from Qingyan came in. Where are you? When are you coming back? I acted like I didn't see it. Over there. Qingyan probably understood I wasn't going to reply. She video called me again. This time, I hung up expressionlessly. Then I blocked her directly. The pressure radiating from Qingyan was so heavy it felt like it could explode the flower room. What answered her was a bright red exclamation mark. Meanwhile, Su Yurou sent her another video. By coincidence, the video Su Yurou sent was exactly of the moment she called and messaged me. I saw her call, but I didn't care. I received her message too. I just didn't reply. When her second video call came in, my face was full of annoyance and disgust. Then I directly turned off my phone. Qingyan grabbed the phone in her hand and smashed it hard against the tempered glass of the flower room. It shattered instantly. One shard even grazed her forehead, leaving a streak of blood. Qingyan couldn't feel it. The anger in her heart simply wouldn't subside. I turned off my phone here and instantly felt the world become peaceful. The Jiaoyi had naturally heard my phone ring and saw me power it off, but she thoughtfully didn't ask me about it. At that moment, I felt the Jiaoyi was truly wonderful. Her sense of boundaries made me feel respected. After a warm dinner ended, it was already past 9 o'clock. The Jiaoyi offered to drive me home, and I didn't refuse. Then I'll trouble you, senior. The Jiaoyi smiled. You treated me to such a delicious meal. It's only right that I drive you back. The smile at the corner of my lips bloomed unconsciously. The Jiaoyi drove me back to the villa. I stood at the door and waved to her. Senior, send me a message when you get home. The Jiaoyi replied to me, provided you turn your phone back on. I smiled awkwardly. Only after her car disappeared from view of the villa did I turn around, head back inside, and power on my phone. But just as I reached the door, a hand shot out from inside and snatched my phone away. With one arc, it was thrown straight into the fish tank by the entrance. I glared angrily at the culprit before me. Qingyan, are you insane? Her cold eyes were filled with towering rage. What's the point of having your phone? You don't answer calls. You don't reply to messages. I looked at her broken expression and sneered. So now you're angry? You used to ignore my calls and leave my messages unanswered all the time. How come when I do it to you, you fall apart? I'll say it plainly. I'm not afraid to tell you. I just won't answer your calls. I won't reply to your messages. I had completely given up holding back. My only wish now was to break cleanly from Qingyan, then be with someone else, a pair in love, flying away together. A terrifying pressure erupted from Qingyan. You want to break up? You want to date another woman? Songxian, let me tell you this. In your dreams, you'll never break up with me in this lifetime. After saying that, Qingyan grabbed me and dragged me upstairs. Aunt Chun watched the scene from the kitchen. She wanted to stop it, but didn't dare step forward. In all 7 or 8 years she'd worked here, she'd never seen anything like this. Between Qingyan and me, there had never been such a huge conflict before. Furious, Qingyan dragged me upstairs and shoved me onto the soft bed. Before I could react, she climbed on top of me and pinned me down. Only then did I slowly realize what Qingyan intended to do. I hurriedly opened my mouth, but Qingyan had already prepared. The moment I opened my mouth to curse her with my crow's mouth ability, Qingyan had already stuffed a silk handkerchief into my mouth, forcing every sound back down my throat. She had actually prepared a handkerchief. She had planned this long ago. Qingyan didn't just gag me. She expressionlessly tore off my necktie and tightly tied my hands together, binding them to the headboard. I was furious. She fiercely kissed my throat. I struggled violently when even my pants were pulled off. I shut my eyes in despair and went still. When Su Qingyan kissed me, she also sensed something was wrong. She seemed to regain a bit of reason. Looking at me, a deep stab of pain crossed her heart. In a hoarse voice, she comforted me. "Are you okay?" I glared at her with eyes full of hatred. Su Qingyan's heart ached. She instinctively covered my eyes. A gentle voice sounded beside my ear. "Don't be afraid. This time, I'll let you feel pleasure too." Once Su Qingyan decided something, no one could stop her. I could only be forced along by her. Taken to heaven, then cast into hell. Su Qingyan was wild that night, with a gentleness she'd never shown before. She whispered in my ear, "I'm sorry about the engagement banquet. I'll give you an even grander one." When I drifted to sleep, my smile carried a trace of despair. Never again. I won't marry her. At dawn, I jolted awake and met Su Qingyan's cold eyes. In her eyes, there was actually a trace of indulgent affection. She gently kissed my forehead. "Be good. I'll take you to eat." She led me downstairs by the hand. My evaluating gaze fell on Su Qingyan. She had become different. Downstairs, Aunt Chun had already made chicken soup. Seeing Su Qingyan lead me down, she eagerly brought it over. Her eyes were full of worry. Su Qingyan had looked utterly crazed last night. Something Aunt Chun, after all these years here, had never seen before. She was only a housekeeper. Even if she felt sorry for me, she didn't dare overstep her place to defend me. I gave Aunt Chun a reassuring smile. "Thank you, Aunt Chun. I'm really hungry." I finished the chicken soup in a few gulps. Last night had truly taken too much out of me. Su Qingyan handed me a brand new phone. "It was my fault for putting you on the blacklist. I won't do it again. From now on, when I call or text you, reply, 'Understand.'" I answered absent-mindedly, I didn't argue with her. Su Qingyan looked at me, her whole being full of tenderness. If during these 7 years, Su Qingyan had given me this kind of normal gentleness, my heart would not have died so completely. Su Qingyan leaned close to my ear. "Did last night feel good?" To avoid provoking this lunatic, I casually brushed it off. Good. Su Qingyan chuckled softly. "Then we'll continue tonight." My body stiffened. Last night I had been careless. I hadn't expected lofty Su Qingyan to use such underhanded tricks. At that moment, Su Qingyan's phone rang. She answered. "Got it. I'm coming right away. Send the vice president on the business trip. I don't have time. Clear out the next month's schedule." Su Qingyan looked at me gently. "I'm going to get engaged." My hand holding the spoon trembled, but my face stayed calm. Su Qingyan kissed my cheek. "The company has something to handle. I'm going. Tonight, I'll pick you up for dinner." I had just opened my mouth when she domineeringly cut me off. No refusing. I clenched my fists tightly. The smile on Su Qingyan's delicate face deepened. Only after she left did I finally let out a heavy sigh of relief. Only then did Chunyi hurriedly run out of the lab. "Miss Su didn't hit you yesterday, right?" Seeing the concern in Chunyi's eyes, I couldn't help but laugh. "Chunyi, don't worry. Even if Su Qingyan gets angry, she would never hit me." Only then did Chunyi let out a sigh of relief. I turned on the new phone. All the apps inside had already been downloaded by Su Qingyan. The moment I logged into WeChat, several notifications sounded. The first one I saw was from the Jiaoyi. Sent last night at 11. "I'm home." 10 minutes later, another message came. "Are you asleep?" From the words alone, I could feel her breeding and respect, completely different from Su Qingyan. I stood up and walked to an empty corner to message the Jiaoyi. "Senior, I've thought it over about studying abroad. I'll go there." She replied almost instantly. "I originally didn't want to go, but today you suddenly agreed to study abroad. Something must have happened." The Jiaoyi thought of something. Her heart seemed to be tightly gripped by a pair of giant hands. It ached unbearably. I thought for a moment, then continued typing. "I want to study abroad. Please help me handle the paperwork, senior. As soon as possible." The Jiaoyi didn't ask why. She replied with one word. "Okay." After eating, I returned to my room and went straight to the bathroom. I took off the silk nightgown on my body. Large shocking marks were left all over me. I took out my phone and aimed it at the marks on my neck, taking a clear photo. I opened the chat window with Qingyan. Tonight I want seafood. Let's go to Mansion No. 8. This time, Qingyan replied quickly, okay, I'll have someone reserve a table. Back when I cherished her above everything else. The messages I sent her always sank without a trace. Now she replied instantly, I'll send someone to pick you up then. I have a surprise for you. Qingyan still replied swiftly, I'll come pick you up myself. I directly took screenshots of the chat history, the marks on my collarbone, and posted them to my moments. Visible only to Jimingchuan. Now it was time to watch Jimingchuan make trouble. And on Jimingchuan's side, there, when he saw my highly suggestive moments post, at that moment, a shadow fell over his handsome face. He directly shoved the vase beside him onto the floor. Back then, when I drugged Qingyan, and the two of us slept together, everyone knew about it. Jimingchuan had long since gone mad with jealousy. Now seeing my flaunting moments post, he completely lost control, just thinking of Qingyan being intimate with me. The jealousy and madness in Jimingchuan's heart could not be concealed at all. He tried hard to calm himself, and with trembling hands, called Qingyan. Qingyan answered quickly. The moment the call connected, Jimingchuan began pretending, Sister Qingyan, my chest hurts so much. Can you come see me? There seemed to be silence on the other end. After quite a while, Qingyan finally said, Mingchuan, if you're unwell, call Hu Jing. I'm not a doctor. Jimingchuan was struck by Qingyan's cold tone until he felt terrible. Sister Qingyan, are you ignoring me now? Do you hate me now? Qingyan sighed. Mingchuan, I don't hate you. I won't ignore you either. I have my own life. I can't revolve around you all day long. Jimingchuan couldn't hold back and choked up directly. Did Songxian say something? Did he forbid you from seeing me? You chose him over me and Songxian, didn't you? Qingyan answered without the slightest hesitation. Yes, that single answer stabbed straight into Jimingchuan's chest. I've already asked my assistant to call Hu Jing. She go find you. Jimingchuan couldn't believe it. After speaking, Qingyan hung up on him. It was the first time in history she had hung up on him. Jimingchuan furiously smashed his phone. He panicked. Qingyan seemed to have truly given up on him. At 7 in the evening, I received a call from Qingyan. Come out. I raised an eyebrow. Qingyan actually had time to have dinner with me. She wasn't intercepted by Jimingchuan. This was really outrageous. That first love's destructive power was weak after all. Or maybe, Jimingchuan never saw the moments post I made. I felt there was probably something fishy here. But I still had a second backup plan. Even if I couldn't provoke that lunatic Jimingchuan. I got into the car. Qingyan draped a trench coat over me. It's cold. Don't catch a chill. My reaction was calm. Thanks. Qingyan handed me an exquisite box. I was surprised, for me. Qingyan smiled gently. There's only you and me in this car. If it's not for you, who else would it be for? I was quite surprised. Qingyan smiled and said, I'm giving you a gift. And you're this surprised. I smiled faintly. Yeah, you haven't given me a gift in 2 or 3 years, have you? In the past, you would even have your assistant send me gifts on schedule. These past few years, you've forgotten all about it. I stopped expecting to receive gifts from you long ago. The moment Qingyan heard me say that I hadn't received a gift from her in 2 or 3 years, dark clouds filled her eyes. When we arrived at the restaurant, Qingyan said gently to me, Private room No. 8. Go in first and wait for me. I'm going to make a call. I went to the private room first by myself, but when I opened the door and saw Hu Jing and Jimingchuan sitting inside, I froze for a moment, then smiled. Jimingchuan also flashed me a smile. Xian, what a coincidence. You're here for dinner too. I raised an eyebrow, the amusement in my eyes deepening. I was liking Jimingchuan more and more. I thought he hadn't made a move yet. Turns out he had been waiting here. I nodded. Yeah. I came with Qingyan. She's outside making a call. Jimingchuan pretended not to know. I'm sorry. Private room No. 8 is where Sister Qingyan always brings me. So, I'm used to sitting here. I didn't know Sister Qingyan invited you today. Am I interrupting your date? I smiled so hard my face almost cracked. No. Since you're here, let's eat together. The more people, the livelier. Ji Mingxuan lowered his head slightly. That's great. I really like eating with you. It's just that every time I show up, you don't seem very happy. I immediately stepped forward and excitedly grabbed his hand. That must be an illusion. Look at my sincere eyes. Where do you see that I'm unhappy? I'm extremely happy. What I was thinking was having dinner with Su Qingyan later, taking a few atmospheric photos, then posting them on Moments with some provocative words to Ji Mingxuan. But before I even had the chance, Ji Mingxuan had already shown up on his own. I was absolutely delighted. Ji Mingxuan looked at the genuine smile on my face, feeling both puzzled and confused. Meanwhile, Hu Jing was sizing me up from the side, feeling that something about me today was strange. At the doorway, Su Qingyan called Zhang Zhaoxiao. These past few years, I've always had Li Qian buy gifts for Xian during holidays. Xian said he never received any gifts. Go investigate where those gifts and funds went. On the other end, Zhang Zhaoxiao sharply inhaled. This matter was serious. Su Qingyan's status and wealth spoke for themselves, not to mention the other things she gave me. They were simply expensive. She sent gifts every holiday, but I never received them. Li Qian had embezzled them. No wonder when Zhang Zhaoxiao called Li Qian to inform her the company would sue her. Li Qian's voice trembled so badly over the phone. Su Qingyan hung up the phone, clenching her fists. Storms churned in her eyes. Li Qian had some nerve. No wonder these past years, I seemed to have stopped expecting anything from her. What role exactly had Li Qian played in all this? Su Qingyan rubbed her temples. She blamed herself for pushing everything onto her assistant. Her indifference had created today's situation. She sighed. Deep helplessness hung on her delicate face. Su Qingyan quickly walked to private room No. 8. When the waiter opened the door for her, she saw that inside, it wasn't only me seated there, but also Ji Mingxuan and Hu Jing. She looked directly at Hu Jing. What are you two doing here? Hu Jing spread her hands helplessly. Mingxuan was in a bad mood. He asked me to bring him here for dinner. You used to bring him to private room No. 8 for meals. So, we came in. I didn't expect Songshin to come in too. I waved at Su Qingyan. Qingyan, come sit down and eat. The more people, the livelier. Su Qingyan didn't say much. She naturally walked over and sat beside me. Ji Mingxuan looked pitifully at Su Qingyan. Sister Qingyan, I'm sorry. I came in on my own. I didn't know you were on a date with Songshin. Please don't be mad at me, okay? Su Qingyan was expressionless. I'm not angry, but on her face, the cold expression and indifferent attitude clearly showed that she was angry. Ji Mingxuan instantly felt even more wronged. As I watched this battlefield, I was thrilled inside. I truly wish they would start fighting right now. At that moment, even the heavens seemed to be heightening the atmosphere. At some point, heavy rain had started outside. The pattering sound fell nonstop. Ji Mingxuan couldn't bear Su Qingyan's coldness at all. He stood up and left directly, running outside and plunging into the pouring rain. Hu Jing anxiously shouted at Su Qingyan. Qingyan, Mingxuan's condition can't handle getting soaked. Are you really going to watch him die? Ji Mingxuan had a weak constitution. If he got emotional, he would faint. If he got chilled, he would faint too. From what I observed, he was also pretending to some extent. Su Qingyan sat in her seat, without even raising an eyebrow. But Hu Jing, who was also seated, couldn't stay seated anymore. She stood up and urgently said to Su Qingyan. Qingyan, you know Mingxuan's condition. He can't take this. But Su Qingyan still didn't move. She roared, Ji Shine only has Mingxuan as a younger brother. If anything happens to him, how will you explain it to Ji Shine? I had been watching Ji Mingxuan in the rain the whole time. He suddenly screamed and collapsed. Seeing this, Su Qingyan rushed out like a gust of wind. She rushed into the rain without hesitation. She helped the fallen Ji Mingxuan up and left in the car with him. There was not the slightest hesitation, just like the countless times before. She firmly chose Ji Mingxuan. The same as always. Hu Jing suddenly said coldly, Songshin, did you see that? Have you accepted reality now? Wherever Mingxuan is, you will never be Su Qingyan's first choice. I looked at Hu Jing with a half smile. What you said is very interesting. Why does Su Qingyan treat Ji Mingxuan so specially? Don't you know? Is it really because of Ji Mingxuan himself? Or because of Ji Shine? 5 years ago, Ji Shine died because of Su Qingyan. In Su Qingyan's life, it left a deep mark. And because of the dying request left by Ji Shine, Su Qingyan values Ji Mingxuan so much. If you strip away that connection, Ji Mingxuan would never catch Su Qingyan's eye at all. Hu Jing said coldly, no matter the reason, you need to understand this. You will never compare to Mingxuan. If you have any self-respect, leave as soon as possible. I sneered. Yes, I truly can't compare to Ji Mingxuan. The weight he carries in Su Qingyan's heart is heavier, but the value he gained was bought with his sister's life. You two are really proud of that, aren't you? After saying that, I stood up to leave. But when I reached the door, I stopped. I looked at Hu Jing with a smile. I've always wanted to know about Ji Shine's death. Who was more heartbroken, you or Ji Mingxuan? The moment I finished speaking, I saw the hatred-filled look in Hu Jing's eyes. There was also a trace of alarm in that gaze, as if she feared I had discovered some terrible secret. And seeing her reaction, I revealed a meaningful smile. I knew it. How could Hu Jing, an uncompromising attending physician, keep doing this for Ji Mingxuan and lower her bottom line again and again? So that was the reason. When I had just arrived at the Su family home, during one gathering, because I felt out of place, I went to the back garden alone. At that time, I saw with my own eyes Hu Jing and Ji Shine embracing each other. I was only 16 back then. My thoughts were very simple, so I didn't think in any shocking direction, and it was also my first time seeing them. I simply thought they might have drunk too much. Out of politeness, I quietly left, not wanting to disturb them. But my eyesight was astonishingly good. Only later did I learn that the two people embracing were Ji Shine and Hu Jing. One was Su Qingyan's private doctor, and now she was Ji Mingxuan's. The other was Su Qingyan's college classmate and special assistant. When I was still too young to understand much, Ji Shine died in an accident. So, I never thought too deeply about Ji Shine and Hu Jing's relationship. But just now, when Hu Jing mentioned Ji Shine, I actually heard a trace of choking and resentment in her voice. So I tested Hu Jing, and I really found something. Watching me leave with an unreadable smile at the corner of my mouth, a surge of anger rose in Hu Jing's heart. That smile of mine just now made it impossible for her not to overthink. If I said it out loud, it would be another form of blasphemy against the deceased Ji Shine. She would not allow it. Not long after I walked out, I heard the crisp sound of a table being overturned inside the private room. I shrugged helplessly. Ji Mingxuan's body was truly weak. By the time Su Qingyan sent him to the hospital, he had already started running a high fever. Hu Jing also rushed over to prescribe medicine and put Ji Mingxuan on in for drip. Throughout the whole process, Ji Mingxuan kept hazily clutching Su Qingyan's hand. Sister Qingyan, don't go. Don't drive me away. I know I was wrong. He was probably truly afraid. Even while unconscious, he still had no sense of security. Su Qingyan's brows had been tightly furrowed the whole time. Looking at Ji Mingxuan like this, for the first time, annoyance rose in her heart. Today's meal with me had fallen through, and only then did she suddenly realize it wasn't just today that had failed. Many times before had failed as well. Just like today, Ji Mingxuan would suddenly appear, and then for one reason or another, she would leave me behind. Those careless actions of hers and those incidents had never mattered before. But today they suddenly became crystal clear. While sending Ji Mingxuan to the hospital, she suddenly thought of me. From the car window, she saw me in the private room, very calm. It seemed like numbness and habit. Hu Jing gently tucked the blanket over Ji Mingxuan and said to Su Qingyan, Qingyan, Mingxuan is emotionally unstable. You can't provoke him anymore. You saw what happened today. Do you really want to drive him to death? Su Qingyan's cold gaze fell on him. So according to you, I was the one who made him go into the rain? When Hu Jing met the anger in her eyes, her body instinctively stiffened. Her sharp attitude instantly turned respectful. I'm sorry, I was presumptuous. Su Qingyan looked at her coldly. Hu Jing, you are only a doctor. Do your own job well. If it's not your concern, don't concern yourself with it. And also, why did Ji Mingxuan appear there today? And why was he in that exact private room? Just because I don't say anything doesn't mean I don't know. If you help him pull these little tricks again in the future, you know the consequences. Hu Jing's heart suddenly sank. A wave of fear surged through her. But these past few years, Su Qingyan had indulged Ji Mingxuan too much. She had already forgotten that Su Qingyan was the ruler of the Su family who held power over life and death. President Su, I overstepped. Expressionless, Su Qingyan pulled her hand away from Ji, withdrew her hand from Ji Mingxuan's grasp. Ji Mingxuan on the bed instantly panicked. Don't go. He reached out and grabbed wildly in the air, as if he had to catch Su Qingyan. Su Qingyan gave Hu Jing a look. Hu Jing immediately understood. She stepped forward and placed her hand into Ji Mingxuan's hand. Ji Mingxuan grabbed hold of something, and his emotions calmed slightly. Sister Qingyan, I love you. Hu Jing was startled inside, and instinctively looked at Su Qingyan. Su Qingyan's slender figure had already reached the doorway. She resolutely pulled open the ward door and walked out. Only then did Hu Jing shift her gaze back to Ji Mingxuan. Mingxuan, this time she seemed serious. Ji Mingxuan, lying unconscious on the bed, slowly opened his eyes. Ji Mingxuan really did have a weak constitution, but Hu Jing had carefully nursed him back to health long ago. His current condition of fainting after getting rained on and the fever were completely fake. Hu Jing had given him a special medicine. As long as he took it, it would quickly create the illusion of a fever, and with Hu Jing cooperating, Su Qingyan would never notice. Ji Mingxuan sat on the bed in despair. He couldn't understand why. Am I really not as good as Song Xin? Why did Sister Qingyan choose him instead of me? Hu Jing felt very sorry for Ji Mingxuan. Ji Xian only had this one younger brother, and loved him dearly. She had long treated Ji Mingxuan like her own younger brother, and doted on him. She stroked Ji Mingxuan's head. If only you had been the one back then to take that stab for Su Qingyan. Ji Mingxuan's face stiffened, instantly losing all color. A flash of hatred crossed those cold eyes. He clenched his fist. He hated himself, and hated me even more. He had been there too. He had only arrived one step later than me. If he had been the one who took the stab for Su Qingyan, he would already be together with Su Qingyan now. After all, it was only after I blocked the knife that Su Qingyan said she wanted to get engaged. Hu Jing sighed. Mingxuan, can't you stop pushing so hard? You're causing trouble with Song Xin on one side, and with Su Qingyan on the other. You can only choose one. Hu Jing had made her meaning very clear. Ji Mingxuan nodded at her. I understand. Sister Hu Jing, I want to be alone for a while. Hu Jing understood what he meant. She dotingly stroked her head. Rest well. Don't overthink things. After saying that, Hu Jing opened the door and walked out. There was no one left in the ward. Ji Mingxuan's expression instantly turned gloomy. Song Xin, you want to fight me for Sister Qingyan? You're not qualified. Just then, a text message came into Ji Mingxuan's phone. It was from Lu Chun. Mr. Ji, President Su and Song Xin will hold their engagement banquet again in 3 days. Ji Mingxuan's pupils suddenly contracted. Instinctively, he was about to throw his phone away, but the phone suddenly rang violently again. It was Li Qian calling him. He tried hard to calm himself down and answered Li Qian's call. Li Qian spoke anxiously on the other end. Mr. Ji, you have to help me. Ji Mingxuan froze. Sister Li Qian, don't panic. Tell me slowly. What exactly happened? Li Qian had completely lost her composure. She could only tell him what she had done. A shocked expression appeared on Ji Mingxuan's face. Then he thought of a good idea. He said gently to Li Qian, Sister Li Qian, today, Song Xin and I had dinner together with Sister Qingyan. During the meal, Song Xin wanted a watch. He said Sister Qingyan hadn't given him a gift in years. Li Qian instantly cursed angrily. I knew it. It must be Song Xian's doing. If it weren't for him, this matter had been hidden perfectly for 2 years. How could it have been exposed? Now they want me to pay the money back. Where am I supposed to get it? I lost all the money gambling long ago. Ji Mingxuan listened with his heart pounding. At the same time, he felt very pleased. A gambler was good. A gambler was easier to manipulate. Ji Mingxuan said softly. Actually, Sister Qingyan doesn't care about this little bit of money. He said you followed her for so long, and you're even her direct junior. She wanted to give you a chance and let this matter end here. But Song Xian refused. Ji Mingxuan continued to fan the flames. You know, last time Sister Qingyan felt guilty that the engagement banquet was cancelled. She wanted to hold it again. But Song Xian said if you weren't dealt with, he wouldn't get engaged. Their engagement banquet is in 3 days. Li Qian's voice was filled with overwhelming hatred. If he won't let me live in peace, then he shouldn't expect peace either. He wants to get engaged to President Su. Dream on. I won't let him get his way. Ji Mingxuan smiled as he looked at the disconnected call. I hadn't planned to have dinner with Su Qingyan in the first place. So, when Su Qingyan left with Ji Mingxuan, I left directly as well. But when I reached the intersection, someone suddenly tapped my shoulder. I turned around and met a grinning face. What are you doing here? Not at home keeping Su Qingyan company? When I saw who it was, my brows rose. It was Ji Hansheng. Ji Hansheng was Ji Mingxuan's half-brother. Ji Hansheng's mother was Ji Mingxuan's stepmother. Ji Hansheng was 2 months older than Ji Mingxuan. Ji Mingxuan's weak health now was the result of being tormented by that stepmother. Once a family has a stepmother, it often gains a stepfather too. Ji Shu, Ying and Ji Mingxuan were full siblings from the same mother. The two of them lived miserably under their stepmother's hand. Their father had even made a will early on. The inheritance would go to Ji Hansheng and his 8-year-old sister Ji Xiaoman. Ji Mingxuan and Ji Xian would get nothing. They had no status in their social circle. Until Ji Xian entered university and became Su Qingyan's classmate. Ji Xian was a clever woman. She had always been hiding her abilities, but after coming into contact with Su Qingyan, she revealed the talents she had concealed. Sure enough, she gained Su Qingyan's appreciation. From university onward, she had worked for Su Qingyan the entire time. From then on, Ji Xian and Ji Mingxuan's status rose rapidly. Ji Xian was ruthless too. The Ji family company had a critically important partnership with the Su family. That cooperation controlled the life or death of the Ji company. Ji Xian was from the Ji family, so of course she knew the company's weaknesses. She directly used those problems to block the contract. Their father panicked and began begging humbly. Ji Xian directly demanded 500 million in cash, the real estate left by her mother, and Ji Mingxuan's rightful share. She also wanted half the profits from the Su family contract. Their father was driven into a corner and had no choice but to agree. Because of Su Qingyan, Ji Xian won a beautiful comeback. To this day, it is still widely talked about in the capital. As the son of a mistress, Ji Hansheng was no easy opponent either. To him, the 500 million given to Ji Xian and the profits, including those real estate properties, had originally belonged to him. Yet they were handed over so cheaply to Ji Xian and Ji Mingxuan, that pair of siblings. How could he not be furious? And the reason Ji Xian could win that comeback was all because of Su Qingyan. Not only did Ji Xian want to cling to Su Qingyan, even Ji Mingxuan wanted to do the same. Of course, Ji Hansheng wanted to sabotage them. So, as for the third suspect who drugged Su Qingyan back then, I suspect it was Ji Hansheng. I smiled at Ji Hansheng. Ji Mingxuan is keeping her company. Sure enough, after I said that, Ji Hansheng's expression changed. He hypocritically patted my shoulder. Xin, you are Su Qingyan's fiancé. You should stand up. Ji Mingxuan is just a shameless third party. I gave a bitter smile. Su Qingyan and I already canceled the engagement. I'm no longer her fiancé. I've persisted for so many years. I'm tired too. I'm planning to give up. Ji Hansheng became anxious. You can't give up. Su Qingyan doesn't like Ji Mingxuan. It's only because of Ji Xian's death that she treats Ji Mingxuan specially. Since she gave you the title of boyfriend, she must acknowledge you. If you give up, wouldn't that be exactly what Ji Mingxuan wants? I looked utterly hopeless. There's no way. Su Qingyan and I were wrong from the start. You know that. Back then, I slept with Su Qingyan. Everyone said I was the one who drugged her. Even Su Qingyan believed that. She always thought I was scheming, that I would stop at nothing just to sleep with her. How could she possibly marry me? The engagement banquet was only to give me some dignity. After saying that, I looked dejected and walked away. After I had gone a few steps and looked back, I saw a thoughtful look in Ji Hansheng's eyes, as if he had made some major decision. I was almost certain that the drugging incident back then was related to him. I probed him and said, "You were the one who drugged her back then, right?" Ji Hansheng suddenly choked on his own saliva and couldn't stop coughing. A cold smile curled at the corner of my lips. So it really was Ji Hansheng. I watched Ji Hansheng keep patting his chest, then frown, curse, and walk away. Just then, my phone buzzed once. It was a message from the Jiaoyi. The plane ticket is for 1 week later. I replied with one word, okay. Then I silently deleted the message and took a taxi straight back to the villa. The villa was brightly lit. When I saw Suking sitting on the sofa, I froze for a moment. She actually wasn't at the hospital in Jimingchuan. Suking called me over and smiled faintly. Her eyes signaled toward the empty seat beside her. Come here. I hadn't wanted to go over, but when I met Suking's calm, unreadable eyes, I saw a trace of madness inside them. Thinking of what happened last night, I unwillingly walked over. Before I even sat down, Suking leaned into my arms. Her distinctive perfume instantly filled my senses. Suking handed me an exquisite photo album. Take a look. I struggled for a moment, but didn't push her away and gave up resisting. I took the album and flipped through it casually. Inside were many exquisite pictures. I only flipped through twice before finishing it. Suking looked at my handsome face. You're not happy? I frowned. Why should I be happy? Suking opened the album again, turning to the design mock-up page. Pick one you like. I looked at her strangely. You're giving me something and still making me choose. Suking's face darkened instantly. Even her voice turned colder. What do you think this is? I steadied my attitude and smiled, saying, what is this? I don't understand. Explain it to me. Suking let out a cold laugh. This is the wedding layout for our engagement banquet. Suking pointed at the images and explained to me. At the entrance of the banquet hall, there will be an exquisite floral archway, wrapped with flowers and ribbons. In the center, there will be a large screen, playing the photos we've taken. Choose the best photos to display there, and the surrounding decorations too. Take a look and choose which ones. Suking's voice was very gentle, growing softer and softer. Around her, it was as if pink heart bubbles were floating. She seemed to be truly looking forward to this engagement banquet, carefully preparing it. But all I felt was unbearable bitterness in my heart. The engagement banquet I had once longed for was already gone with the original venue. Back then, I had also been like Suking now, asking her little by little what she wanted. She only said one sentence, handle it as you see fit. I had felt awful then, but I could still comfort myself, thinking Suking simply disliked worrying over such things. I just needed to prepare everything beautifully and wait for her to attend. And what did I get in return? Just one sentence: the engagement banquet is cancelled. I covered my chest and pushed the album away. I could no longer maintain the fake smile on my face. Suking, I don't want to get engaged to you anymore. Suking's hand paused. Her expression remained calm. She set the album down. Her cool eyes quietly fell on me. Why? I met her gaze directly and slowly pushed her out of my arms. I sat across from her calmly. I don't want to marry you anymore. Suking scoffed. You don't want to marry me? You chased after me for so many years, drugged me, took a knife from me, and now you're telling me you don't want to marry me anymore. I took a deep breath, trying my best to steady my emotions. I did cling to you for all these years because I had the right to love someone. I took that knife for you because I liked you. Believe it or not, if you were stabbed into a pincushion in front of me now, I still wouldn't step forward to save you. As for drugging you, I'm not insane enough to do that. My voice rose a notch. This is the last time I'm telling you. I never drugged you. The atmosphere between us instantly became tense. Suking raised her slender fingers and rubbed her temples. She tried hard to calm herself. She reached out, softened her attitude, and said, I'm sorry, I spoke wrongly. My face remained expressionless. You didn't speak wrongly. I told you back then it wasn't me who drugged you. You said you believed me. But in truth, you never believed me at all. Suking frowned tightly. Her voice was helpless and distant. I don't care about that matter. Does it really matter whether it was you? As the victim, I didn't say anything about it. I didn't pursue it. I didn't blame you either. So what exactly are you upset about? I suddenly stood up in agitation. But I care. Why should I bear such filthy accusations? I thought you believed me. So I never investigated the truth. If you had told me earlier that you didn't believe me, I could have proven my innocence. I wouldn't be like this now, unable to clear my name. Suking, even now, still didn't believe I was innocent. At this moment, I finally understood that I had loved the wrong person all these years. Qingyan looked at me. She only felt an intense headache. Fine. Isn't this what you wanted? I believe you now, all right. My eyes turned red as I shouted at her. You said the same thing back then? But did you really believe me? Qingyan was already patiently coaxing me. Yet I still refused to let it go. She snapped in anger. Fine. You say it wasn't you. Then do you have any evidence? My rage flared even more. It's all because of you. Since you didn't believe me, why did you say you did? If you'd said you didn't believe me right after it happened, the evidence could still have been found. It's already been 3 years. The surveillance footage is long gone. Qingyan stood up calmly and casually, her face full of lazy indifference. So, you can't produce evidence. I clenched both fists in fury, staring at Qingyan with hatred. Seeing that I was on the verge of losing control, she knew her tone had gone too far. She softened her voice. All right, no matter what the truth is, I don't care. You shouldn't care either. If what you care about is other people's opinions, I'll help clear your name. In that instant, helplessness and despair flooded my heart. I took a step back and looked at her in disappointment. Qingyan, I have a way to prove my innocence. I walked straight outside and stood on the lawn in the courtyard. I looked at the starry sky. I didn't drug you back then. If I was the one who drugged you. Qingyan's face changed drastically. She rushed over in one stride and tightly covered my mouth. Are you crazy? I had already regained my cursed tongue. She knew exactly how powerful my bad luck words were. Even being struck by lightning, I wasn't afraid of dying from it. My eyes looked at her with complete calm. The very last trace of love I had left completely vanished. See, even at a time like this, Qingyan still didn't believe me. Only at this moment did I realize how pitiful these 7 years had been. I pushed her away without leaving a trace and kept my distance from her. The way I looked at her was like looking at a stranger. I finally understood why I had fallen into this trap. Why was I arguing over this with an ex-girlfriend I was about to leave? Suddenly, the phone clenched tightly in my hand rang. I looked at the screen. It was from an unfamiliar number. It seemed to be a video clip. A sudden hope rose in my heart. My hands were trembling when I opened the video. My eyes were fixed intensely on the phone screen. At last, I smiled. I raised my head, my gentle gaze falling on Qingyan. Qingyan, didn't you want evidence? I've sent the evidence to your phone. The moment my words fell, the phone in Qingyan's living room chimed once. I didn't look at her again. I turned around, went inside, and headed upstairs. Qingyan frowned slightly. She sat down tiredly on the sofa and saw the phone on the table. She opened WeChat and saw it was a video. The video had been filmed in a dim private room. Several people were sitting on a luxurious sofa. At a glance, she saw herself in it, and me sitting beside her, looking at her fondly. At that time, my heart and eyes were full of nothing but her. My love had nearly overflowed, unlike now. Suddenly, an intern entered the video. He carried liquor and glasses and set them on the coffee table, pouring with his back to them. The intern poured for glasses of wine. Then he carefully took out a paper packet from his clothes and poured it into one of the glasses. He brought the drugged glass to Qingyan. The remaining glasses were served to the others, and I was the one who handed her that drugged glass. She casually drank it down. What happened afterward followed naturally. For one brief moment, Qingyan felt pain all over her body. A sudden spasm twisted her stomach, and she collapsed to her knees in agony. Her long hair covered her brows and eyes. Beneath it was shattered pain. I truly had never drugged her. Yet she had never once believed me. She thought of how I had argued just now, looking as if my eyes would split. That was the look of someone misunderstood, someone deeply hurt. I was just about to shower when urgent knocking came from the door as Chun-Yi called out. Xian, Miss Su has fainted. I opened the door and immediately saw downstairs Qingyan curled up on the floor. I had seen her like this many times before. Her stomach was hurting again. Her stomach was very fragile. All these years, I had carefully taken care of her. I said to Chun-Yi, go call security and have them take her to the hospital. Chun-Yi looked at me in shock. You're not going? I sneered lightly. I'm not a doctor. It would be useless if I went. Chun-Yi, Hurry and call security. Otherwise she might really die from the pain. After saying that, I shut the door. Qingyan, curled on the floor, was already trembling in pain. Yet she clearly heard every word I said. My indifference toward her was just like how she had ignored my explanations. Qingyan panicked. She looked at the tightly shut door, then looked at Qingyan on the floor. In the end, she gritted her teeth and went to call security. What I said was correct. Qingyan had stomach pain, so of course she had to be sent to the hospital. The security guards quickly took Qingyan to the hospital. Qingyan was already in so much pain that her consciousness was fading. By the time the pain eased enough for her to regain awareness, the fourth had already been started. Her attending physician was Cheng Suisui. Her medical skills were exceptional, especially when it came to treating stomach problems. Cheng Suisui looked at her in surprise. How strange. Stomach pain caused by severe emotional fluctuation. You're someone who wouldn't change expression even if the sky fell. Yet your emotions fluctuated this badly? What happened? I'm very curious. Qingyan swept her with a cold gaze. Get out. Cheng Suisui raised a brow, embarrassed and angry now, even when faced with Qingyan's even sharper glare. She wasn't afraid at all. Instead, her smile deepened. Let me guess. It's because of Songshin, right? Qingyan's gaze had become deadly. She stared at Cheng Suisui. The smile on the latter's face only deepened. I already heard about it. You canceled the engagement in one moment, then personally brought Songshin back the next. Tell me, what exactly do you want? If Ji Mingchuan really had a problem, you're not a doctor. What could you do? Even taking 10,000 steps back, couldn't you have gone after the engagement? I told you long ago, with the way you treated Songshin, one day you'd regret it. Looks like it came true. Qingyan could no longer endure it. Shut up. If it were anyone else, they would never have dared provoke her further. But Cheng Suisui was more than just her doctor. She had another identity as well, Qingyan's cousin. This embarrassed, angry look on Qingyan's face was actually the very fuse that had triggered her stomach pain. In truth, Cheng Suisui had long noticed that Qingyan treated me differently. It was just that Qingyan's upbringing had been unusual. She had never felt love, nor did she know how to love someone. Qingyan herself probably never realized how special I was to her. Cheng Suisui looked at Qingyan meaningfully. Qingyan, a boyfriend is meant to be loved. You have to let him feel your love. He gave you passionate, wholehearted love. What did you give him in return? Anyone would grow tired, especially after 7 years. In truth, she rather admired me. Facing an iceberg like Qingyan, I had actually persisted for 7 years. After saying that, Cheng Suisui left. She closed the ward door behind her. Qingyan looked at that door. Her beautiful face was calm yet lost in thought. The next day, I slept until 10 o'clock. After washing up briefly, I went downstairs. But the moment I stepped out of my room, I froze. In the enormous living room, all kinds of boxes were piled everywhere. There was even a whole row of luxury brand boutique attendants standing neatly inside the villa. The moment they saw me, they bowed and greeted me. Good morning, Mr. Song. Good morning. I had no idea what this huge display was about, so I could only look to Chenyi for help. Chenyi, what's going on? Chenyi glanced behind me. You'd better ask Miss Su yourself. I turned around and saw Qingyan standing behind me, but I couldn't be bothered to ask. I rolled my eyes and said, none of my business. I continued downstairs to find something to eat, but the moment I got downstairs, those people swarmed toward me and pulled me onto the sofa to sit down. Then they began fussing over me from head to toe. I glared at Qingyan. What are you trying to do? Qingyan looked at me calmly. The day after tomorrow is our engagement banquet. They're here to serve you and choose your clothes and accessories. I widened my eyes in disbelief. Qingyan had seen last night's video, and she already knew the truth. She should understand that there was no saving what stood between us anymore. She should have agreed to break up. I glared at her furiously. Qingyan, are you insane? We've already broken up. What engagement? If you love getting engaged so much, go find Ji Mingchuan. Don't come bother me. Qingyan walked to my side and said expressionlessly, I'll send Ji Mingchuan abroad. He won't become an obstacle between us. I felt my chest heaving violently with rage. Qingyan adjusted her clothes and said to the others, today, make sure every single item is tried on him. Then she met my furious gaze. She regained her noble elegance. I'm going to the company. After saying that, she picked up her bag and left. I shouted, "Tell them to leave." But the only response I got was Su Qingyan's back as she walked away without turning around. The more than 10 people left in the room all listened only to Su Qingyan. They began dressing me and making me try things on. If I refused, they would pin me down. I fumed for quite a while, but in the end, a wise man knows when to yield. They were just employees. There was no point making things hard for them, so I obediently tried everything on. In the end, I deliberately picked the ugliest sets. Once those people completed their task, they removed everything and quickly left the villa. I was about to go out too, but just as I reached the door, there were 4 well-trained bodyguards blocking my way. "Mr. Song, before the engagement banquet, please remain inside the house and do not leave." I laughed in anger. So, Su Qingyan wanted to place me under house arrest. The bodyguard said respectfully, "Please don't make things difficult for us." I took a deep breath and turned around to go upstairs. The moment I got upstairs, Shen Weixu called. I answered it. On the other end, Shen Weixu hurriedly asked, "Xian, what's going on?" I saw that Su Qingyan posted an invitation for your engagement banquet. It's the day after tomorrow. How come I never heard about this? I sneered. I only just found out too. Shen Weixu immediately said, "You agreed. Don't do that. Don't fall back into the pit of fire that is Su Qingyan." I said helplessly I didn't agree. But Su Qingyan has gone crazy. She doesn't care whether I agree or not. She's even locked me in the villa now, with a bunch of bodyguards watching me. They won't let me out before the engagement banquet arrives. Shen Weixu exploded on the other end. Su Qingyan is actually imprisoning you? That's shameless. Then he asked worriedly, "Where are you now?" "I'll bring people to rescue you." I refused. No need. If Su Qingyan wants to go crazy, let her. Don't get involved and create unnecessary trouble. Secretly telling you, I already agreed to study abroad. I'm leaving in a few days. Shen Weixu's tone instantly turned heartbroken. "Xian, are you going abroad because Su Qingyan forced you to?" My relationship with Shen Weixu was truly very good. When studying abroad was first mentioned before, I had already told him that I didn't want to go, but this time, I agreed. I smiled and didn't lie. Su Qingyan is indeed a big reason. If I stay in the country, she really could turn the world upside down to find me. I'll hide overseas first. I'll just treat it as going out to have fun. Shen Weixu sounded a little regretful. Then won't we be unable to see each other for a long time? I rolled my eyes. You traveled abroad plenty of times before. You can come find me overseas, and we can hang out together. Shen Weixu instantly brightened up. I hung up the phone and decided to lie low for the next few days to dispel Su Qingyan's suspicions. Once the study abroad documents were ready, I'd leave immediately. When Su Qingyan arrived at the company, Zheng Zhaoxiao was already holding the documents she needed and came to find her. Last night at the hospital, Su Qingyan had already sent the video to Zheng Zhaoxiao and told her to investigate who drugged the drink in the video and who had ordered it. Zheng Zhaoxiao worked very efficiently, based on the contents of the video, and since nine belonged to the Su family, it was easy to investigate the waiter in the video. Su Qingyan looked through the investigation results. She laughed in anger. A temporary worker? And a cancer patient. He already died more than 2 years ago. The manager who hired him also died of cancer. There was also a huge transfer into the account from Ji Shine. Su Qingyan angrily threw the file onto the floor. This is the result you investigated. Would 9 casually hire temporary workers? The people working at 9 all need educational qualifications and health certificates. Ji Shine died 5 years ago, yet that transfer was made 3 years ago. Zheng Zhaoxiao said helplessly, too much time has passed. And when I went to investigate, I found that the surveillance footage from that period was missing. This result was suspicious in every possible way. It was clearly premeditated. When Zheng Zhaoxiao saw the video, she was actually surprised. Back then, it wasn't me who drugged Su Qingyan. At first, she wondered if it might have been someone I hired, but the investigation results completely cleared my suspicion. I didn't have the power to plant people inside 9. Just the transfer from Ji Shine's account alone was beyond me. Su Qingyan clearly understood that as well. A chilling frost filled her handsome features. Keep digging. I want the complete truth. Zheng Zhaoxiao felt her scalp go numb. It was very hard to investigate now. If they had investigated back then, before the people died, before the surveillance was erased, and while the people who hired the temp worker were still around, there would still be hope. Now, it could be said the dead could not testify, and the money transferred to them came from the account of someone already dead. Everything pointed to Ji Xian as the mastermind, but Ji Xian had died 5 years ago. While this happened 3 years ago, how could they investigate this? The air instantly turned tense. Just then, Su Qingyan's phone rang. It was Hu Jing. Su Qingyan frowned. At this time, Hu Jing should have been leaving with her team and Ji Mingxuan. She answered the call. From the other end, Hu Jing's anxious voice came immediately. Qingyan, this is bad. Mingxuan ran away. We already arrived at the airport. He said he was going to the restroom, and then disappeared. Su Qingyan was already furious, and Hu Jing's words made her explode instantly. You can't even handle something this simple. Hurry up and find him. When you do, take him away immediately. Hu Jing felt wronged. This time, she realized Su Qingyan was serious. She had also advised Ji Mingxuan to leave with her. Recently, Su Qingyan's mood was clearly unstable. He could come back after things calmed down. Ji Mingxuan agreed verbally. But once they reached the airport, he suddenly changed his mind and ran. Now she was the one being blamed by Su Qingyan. As for me, since Su Qingyan was so determined to get engaged, I adopted a fine let's do it attitude. I simply relaxed and lay on the bed playing games. But halfway through the game, I suddenly received a message. It was from Li Qian. I opened the chat box. Li Qian had sent me a photo. When I saw what was in the picture, my pupils instantly contracted. It was Ji Mingxuan tied up. In the photo, his hair was disheveled, his clothes in disorder, his eyes were filled with terror, and his mouth was sealed with black tape. His whole body was tied to a chair. I immediately forgot about the game and sat upright. I sent Li Qian a message. What do you mean by this? Then I instantly screenshotted it and forwarded it to Su Qingyan. Call the police. That was my first instinct. After all, Su Qingyan and I were supposed to get engaged the day after tomorrow. Ji Mingxuan was causing trouble again. Moreover, Ji Mingxuan and Li Qian's relationship had always been unusual. If the two of them plotted together, this kidnapping act would not be strange at all. But my intuition told me the fear and terror in Ji Mingxuan's eyes were not fake. He might really have been kidnapped by Li Qian. As for why these two allies turned against each other, I had no idea. There was no movement from Li Qian's side, but after Su Qingyan saw the message I sent, she immediately called me. Her voice was cold. What happened? I said blankly. I don't know either. She suddenly sent it to me. Su Qingyan asked, did she say anything else? I quickly replied. She didn't reply to me. Su Qingyan paused. Okay. I understand. I'll be back right away. At an abandoned factory in the suburbs of the capital. After Li Qian sent the photo to me, she turned off her phone. She smiled at Ji Mingxuan. Mr. Ji, don't worry. I won't hurt you. You just need to cooperate with me obediently. Ji Mingxuan looked at her with pleading eyes, helplessly nodding and shaking his head. He regretted it. Su Qingyan was getting engaged the day after tomorrow, yet she wanted to send him away. He was unwilling, so he had plotted with Li Qian to disappear at the airport. But after he followed Li Qian to the abandoned factory, planning to discuss kidnapping me tomorrow, Li Qian actually tied him up first. She even tore his clothes apart and slapped him across the face. Before he could even recover from this huge turn of events, his mouth had already been sealed with tape. Then Li Qian took photos of him. Yet she did not send the photos to Hu Jing, nor did she send them to Su Qingyan. Instead, she sent them to me. Li Qian saw the anger and fear in his eyes. She smiled and explained, of course I want to torment him. I'll send your photo to him first, so he has an idea of what's going on. Tomorrow, I'll make Su Qingyan use him to exchange for you. Tell me, what will he think of Su Qingyan? Over the past 2 days, Li Qian had been tortured in both body and mind. On one side, there was Su Qingyan relentlessly pursuing her. On the other side, there were creditors hounding her nonstop. Both sides wanted her life. Now she was nothing more than a stray dog in the water. Those creditors had once been lenient with her, but these past 2 days they had suddenly become aggressive. She had followed Su Qingyan for so long. How could she not understand this was Su Qingyan's method? Su Qingyan was forcing her to die. Since that was the case, then no one was going to have it easy. Ji Mingxuan cried as he shook his head. Li Qian tore the tape off his mouth. He pleaded, Sister Li Qian, I'll cooperate with you. I want Songxian dead too. Li Qian, you were the one I sponsored. I trust you completely. Ji Mingxuan was not stupid. He had already seen the madness in Li Qian's eyes. Li Qian slowly caressed his face. Mingxuan, I'm very grateful for your sponsorship. It let me leave the mountains. Do you know, the first time I saw you, I thought you were an angel sent by heaven. All these years, I've loved you silently. Ji Mingxuan's heart skipped a beat. Did he not know Li Qian liked him? Of course he knew. Every time Li Qian looked at him, her gaze practically dripped. It was filled with surging love. But with someone like Su Qingyan as the standard before him, how could he possibly think highly of Li Qian? He had only used her feelings and her gratitude toward him to turn her into a puppet. Clearly, that puppet was now out of control. The next second, his bad premonition came true. Li Qian grabbed his chin and kissed him fiercely. Mingxuan, I love you. Su Qingyan returned very quickly. Did Li Qian send you any message? I showed Su Qingyan my phone. No, I even called Li Qian's phone. It says it's powered off. I asked Su Qingyan with concern. Did you investigate it? Where is Li Qian now? There was no expression on Su Qingyan's beautiful face, but she fell silent. It was obvious she had investigated, but Li Qian was hiding well. She couldn't find her. Looking at Su Qingyan, I didn't know what to say. I asked curiously, Su Qingyan, did you do something to Li Qian? Su Qingyan's calm gaze fell on me. But that look made me uncomfortable. You wouldn't go after Li Qian because of me, would you? You absolutely mustn't. Otherwise, they'll pin Ji Mingxuan's kidnapping on me. I didn't do anything. And I didn't ask you to do anything either. Seeing how desperately I wanted to clear myself of any connection, Su Qingyan sighed helplessly. You said I hadn't given you anything these past 2 years. But actually, every holiday, I had Li Qian deliver gifts. I instantly understood. So, Li Qian had embezzled them for herself. Now Su Qingyan was making her repay the loss, and she couldn't cover it. I said to Su Qingyan, then don't make her repay it. She definitely already gambled the money away. If you pressure a gambler like this, of course she'd panic. Su Qingyan narrowed her eyes. How do you know she gambled?